Chapter 521. Jiang Zhao knows his injuries are not serious. It's just that there are bruises on his face, and it's not suitable for him to show his face. His mother must have something to discuss with him. Sister Zhen, Grandpa had agreed to support my father-in-law's case. You should know about it. Qin Zhen said seriously. But you are too unreliable. There are already people pressuring you, and you still want to bail him out. Zhao Zhao, you will not be promoted to acting mayor this time. Your grandfather is also blaming you, and he is trying to suppress his anger. Mum. Jiang Zhao changed the way he addressed his mother. Yi Er's father was forced to confess, and there were bruises all over his body. Someone showed her the video of his injuries. If I don't bail him out, my wife will suffer from schizophrenia. She was not normal for 2 days. Qin Zhen waved her hand. Yes. From your point of view, you are always right. No one can say anything. I don't care how you pamper her, but you must promise me that you will not drag yourself into this mess. Jiang Zhao laughed and shook his head. Mum, I had already dragged myself into this mess. It's useless for you to blame me now. Qin Zhen was speechless and kept quiet for a while. I think Yun Hongwei doesn't know the rules. He is already out of prison, and we are in-laws. Why didn't he invite us to have a meal together? Although Qin Zhen agreed to Yi Er and Jiang Zhao's marriage at that time, she had always been calculative in her heart. After all, if the Yun family was involved, the Qin family was equivalent to being dragged down. Who would be happy about it? Mum, we are the men's side, and we should invite the women for a meal. Why are you blaming Yi Er's father for not following the rules? You can't say that he is in prison, and he doesn't even need to act like a father-in-law. Furthermore, he has just been released, and he needs to rest for a while. He is already out on medical parole, and a checkup is his main priority. Isn't it normal to have a meal together after he recovers? You don't have to be so upset. Mum, you are always like this, and it's hard for me. Qin Zhen was actually considered a rational woman. She didn't care much about her 2 sons, but they were both very good. However, one of her sons suddenly got married, and it was a flash marriage. She felt as if something was missing. She was already dissatisfied with her daughter-in-law's family background, and seeing her son so protective of her, she felt even more uncomfortable in her heart. Thus, she was a little unreasonable. How am I making things difficult for you? Her family is like this. How can she be mistreated after marrying into your family? She is good at everything? Even though she saw that you were injured, she didn't let you rest. Instead, she kept playing with you. Did she really care about you? I think she's just used to being a rich young lady and doesn't care about others at all. I am doing this for your own good, and you are still criticizing me. You have really forgotten your mother now that you have a wife, right? Jiang Zhao was troubled by Qin Zhen's first-time mother-in-law behavior. He did not know how many times this kind of thing would happen in the future. He really did not feel good being a sandwich biscuit. Mum, it's not like that. If Yi Er did something wrong, I would reprimand her. She doesn't have the bad temper of a miss from a rich family. She will listen and change. She is more sensible than many girls her age. But you're inexplicably blaming her for some normal things. I don't feel comfortable with that. Jiang Zhao looked at Qin Zhen, a trace of disappointment in his eyes. Even his voice was regretful. After all, in my heart, you are a woman who knows how to deal with people. You have a good grasp of everything and you always look at the big picture. Even Grandpa said that many of my qualities are very similar to yours. I am very outstanding. You are such an outstanding woman in my heart, but you suddenly jumped out to criticize my wife. I can't accept it. She sleeps with me every day, but I didn't find so many flaws in her. Tell me, where did you find these flaws in her? Qin Zhen looked into Jiang Zhao's eyes, and her heart skipped a beat. Okay. Mum is just complaining. She is a menopausal woman. You have to be understanding. Jiang Zhao's expression changed. He smiled and said, Yes, Sister Zhen. Your brother Zhao is still young. You have to be gentle. Don't always scare him. It will be over if he gets sick. Qin Zhen let out an almost inaudible sigh. This was her son. Ever since he was a child. Even his younger brother would not ask for benefits behind her back like this. Now he was trying his best to negotiate with her for a woman. Naturally, she was also a person who knew when to stop. Sometimes her temper was inevitable. If she really thought about it carefully, she would try her best to consider her son's feelings. Otherwise, when they got married, she would not have stood out to agree. Others might not know her son, but she knew him very well. He was a bull. Among the boys in the Jiang family, Jiang Zhao and Jiang Rui were the most powerful. They were both men with 3 circles on their heads. Since childhood, they had never been quiet. The 2 younger brothers were more tolerant than the 2 older brothers. They were not like the 2 older brothers, who fought openly and secretly. No one would give in to the other. However, when they grew up, the 2 older brothers' achievements in all aspects were much more eye-catching. Brother Zhao, your sister Zhen is old. Anyway, when you do things, you should think about your sister Zhen. I haven't been eating well, and sleeping well recently. Look, my crow's feet are deep. While speaking, Qin Zhen put her face in front of Jiang Zhao like a spoiled child and pointed to the corner of her eyes. Jiang Zhao kissed her, and then rubbed it. Brother Zhao, it will be gone after a kiss. Sister Zhen, you are the most beautiful. Don't worry. I will buy you a set of skincare products these days, so that you will stay young forever. Qin Zhen childishly rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao. The best skincare products are to be in a good mood. Don't you know? Well, next time when we have a meal together, when I see Brother Lai Qing, I will satirize him for you. I will scold him until you are in a good mood. How about that? Jiang Zhao smiled and promised Qin Zhen. He couldn't help it. His mother's biggest hobby was to fight with her ex-husband who had been divorced for more than 10 years. Regardless of the occasion, whenever they met, she would teach his father a lesson. Every time his mother looked weak and wronged, he would stand up and intervene. He couldn't help it. As a man, he always had to give in to his mother. Otherwise, it would be difficult to deal with it. Afterwards, he would persuade his father not to be angry. As long as his mother won, she would be in a good mood for many days. He would often say to his father, Brother Lai Qing, Sister Zhen is in a good mood recently. Thank you for your help. Impudent brat, be careful that I don't whip you to death. Haha. It's better if you use this method on Jiangfeng. You know that I will run away. In the hospital's parking lot, a black Audi drove into Jiang Zhao's car. The driver was Lu Cheng, who was talking on the phone with a Bluetooth headset. After hanging up the phone, the car had just stopped. He reached out and took a craft paper folder from the passenger seat. He gritted his teeth, gathered his breath, opened the door, and walked towards the inpatient department. Lu Cheng's footsteps were a little hurried. The autumn wind was slightly cold, but there was some sweat on his forehead. He raised his hand to wipe it. Lu Cheng's heart beat faster. When he came out of the elevator and walked to the corridor, he saw a family of 3 playing in the smoking area. Yi Er, Yin Hongwei, and Sijia. Yi Er frowned and was about to turn his head away when he saw Lu Cheng. Lu Cheng. Yi Er walked over and looked at the folder in Lu Cheng's hand. You're looking for Jiang Zhao to send some documents? Lu Cheng tightened his grip on the folder. Yes. Yi Er saw that Lu Cheng's expression was not right and asked, Is it something important? It's not really important. It's just that I'm used to looking for him if I have any problems. I am not a competent secretary. Some of the problems are just trivial. That's why it's too difficult for me to be promoted. Lu Cheng teased himself to distract Yi Er. Since he had seen him, he should greet him. He walked over and saw Yin Hongwei. Uncle Yin, how are you? Little Sijia, you have grown taller. Uncle Lu, can you please remove the word Xiao from my name in the future? Haha, you're so naughty. After Lu Cheng was done with the pleasantries, he told Yi Er that he would leave after signing some documents for Jiang Zhao. Yi Er hurriedly urged him, hurry up, hurry up. I've delayed you. Lu Cheng knocked on the door. Qin Zhen heard the sound, and went to open the door. She saw Lu Cheng. Lu Cheng, are you here to look for Jiang Zhao? Hello, Chairman Qin. I am here to look for Mayor Jiang. Come in, come in. Lu Cheng followed Qin Zhen into the ward and saw Jiang Zhao smiling happily. It was rare to see him in such a good mood. Lu Cheng sighed in his heart. Mayor Jiang, I am here to look for you to sign some documents. Jiang Zhao was indeed in a good mood and laughed. Sorry for making you come all the way here. Give it to me. He saw Lu Cheng walking over and asked, Why didn't you call me to tell me? Lu Cheng licked his lips and looked at Qin Zhen. He then looked at Jiang Zhao and continued to lick and bite his lips. Jiang Zhao frowned. He knew that Lu Cheng's expression told him that it was not convenient for him to say it. Logically speaking, if it was an outsider with confidential information, it would be better to be careful. But this person was his mother. Did he have to be so cautious? Even if it was a government secret, he should not be so cautious of his mother. Who doesn't know his mother knows her limits? He knew this was not a small matter. Jiang Zhao said to Qin Zhen, Mom, I need to talk to Lu Cheng. You stay here. There were outsiders around, and Jiang Zhao did not want to joke around with Qin Zhen. Qin Zhen quickly understood. She didn't want to get to the bottom of everything. Her son would tell her what she needed to know about the government building. If it was something important, he would tell her what she needed to know in the future. After all, there were outsiders around. They had to keep it a secret. You all are busy, but take care of yourself. Qin Zhen said a few more words of concern to Lu Cheng before leaving. Lu Cheng made sure Qin Zhen's footsteps had disappeared from the corridor, and he could hear the faint ding of the elevator. He then walked to the door and locked it. Jiang Zhao felt something was wrong. Lu Cheng was indeed a careful person, but this was a private hospital, and the doctors and nurses would never enter the ward directly. Lu Cheng was being too careful. Jiang Zhao thought about it and felt the situation was serious. What's going on? Seeing Lu Cheng walk over with a serious expression, he could not help but look serious and ask in a low voice. Lu Cheng unwrapped the craft paper bag and handed it to Jiang Zhao without taking out the things inside. Jiang Zhao looked at Lu Cheng's actions and frowned. He opened the bag to see what was inside. There were a bunch of photos in the bag. He poured them out and looked at them one by one. Slowly, the roots of Jiang Zhao's teeth left a mark on his face. His thin lips condensed into a harder and thinner line. Who gave it to you? Lu Cheng said. Chintong gave them to me this afternoon. Chintong? What does he want now? Jiang Zhao's voice was a little angry. Ad. Songshu 566. Chapter 522. He probably knows that he won't be able to get anything from me, so he's a bit anxious. He wants to dig up everything. His meaning is very clear. He wants to see the newspaper. After Jiang Zhao heard what Lu Cheng said, he tore the photos in his hand into pieces and threw them under the bed. His sister was the boss. Dong Xuebing was not only angry because of Chen Tong's threats. He was angry because these photos were of Yi Er and Min Zikai kissing at a beautiful woman's apartment. Yi Er was wearing her uniform, and Dong Xuebing knew her relationship with Min Zikai was not that simple. But he did not expect the photos to be so clear. Even if there was a CCTV at the emergency exit, it should not be so clear. Furthermore, Zhuang Yichen should not have anything to do with Chen Tong. This photo should at least be taken on a high-resolution phone. Jiang Zhao reminded himself not to be jealous at this time. He needs to sort things out, but his mind is still in a mess. The photos in front of him are all photos of his wife kissing her ex-fiancé. How can he accept this? Chen Tong can't have been stalking Yin Yi all this time, right? Lu Cheng thought Jiang Zhao would be furious when he saw the photos. But he did not expect Dong Xuebing to be so calm. Chen Tong will not stalk madam, but he had been keeping an eye on Family Min's men. After all, he had secured the position of mayor, and Family Min had helped him a lot. That's why he must know young Master Family Min's whereabouts. But he did not expect that the photos of young Master Min's whereabouts would be used to threaten you. He is feeling proud now. Jiang Zhao's rationality and emotions were struggling. The dates on these photos were two separate times. The first time was before Yi Er took the initiative to ask him to help her brother, and the second time was after they were already together. It should be the time when he caught her at the emergency exit. Dong Xuebing looked at the photos and kissed her passionately. Dong Xuebing clenched his fist to suppress his anger. Chen Tong wants to ruin my reputation this time. Are all the people at the news agency related to him? Did he inform you of his main objective? Lu Cheng looked at Jiang Zhao, who was on the verge of exploding in anger. He was afraid that he would be impulsive, so he carefully analyzed the situation. His purpose is to prevent you from entering the standing committee of the municipal party committee. However, once this photo is released, it will cause a lot of damage. Not only will you not be able to enter the standing committee, but Madam is wearing the uniform of Peerless Beauty, and the interior decoration of Peerless Beauty is very difficult to fake. Even the gray fire exit is sprayed with the logo of Peerless Beauty. When you first acknowledged Madam as your fiancé, the time in the photo is too close to the time of your marriage. The public will have a lot of doubts about Madam's character. Unless. Lu Qing added softly, as if hesitating. Jiang Zhao looked up and glanced at Lu Qing. Unless what? Lu Qing lowered his head to avoid Jiang Zhao's piercing gaze. Unless you tell the public that you didn't know about those things and have been kept in the dark all this time, and ask for a divorce. Jiang Zhao's fingernails were slightly green and white as he held the photo. The force he used was so strong that it seemed like he wanted to squeeze water out of the photo. When he condensed his qi, he closed his eyes and turned his face away to avoid Lu Qing's gaze. Divorce? Whose reputation is it to protect? Lu Qing was stunned for a moment. Wasn't this obvious? It was fine as long as he cleared his name. Of course it's yours. Jiang Zhao's lips curled into a cold smile. Divorce? Ever since he got married, the people around him had been hoping that he would get a divorce. Although the Qin family agreed, they had no choice but to do so. They always felt that this marriage was not compatible. No one was optimistic about his marriage. Even the person who married him did not want this marriage to go in the right direction at all. She often said that they would break up. When his father-in-law saw a little wind and felt a little uncomfortable, he said that he wanted them to get a divorce. When his mother saw a little wind and felt a little uncomfortable, she also wanted them to get a divorce. In short, no one wanted his marriage to last forever. He was the only one who thought that it would be better if they could stay together for a longer time. In the end, before they could develop feelings for each other, something happened. Now that he thought about it, he did not know what was so good about that woman. Could it be that he was really a man with romantic interests? T. He would not sacrifice his entire life just to be responsible for a woman. This was really annoying. Do you think I can protect my reputation by throwing all the dirty water on Yunyi? Let me tell you, this is a lose-lose situation. If the photos are released and I propose a divorce at this juncture, people will say that I am irresponsible. Do you think those gossipers won't fan the flames? Jiang Zhao's straight jaw tightened. Lu Qing had been in a state of anxiety all this time. He was only worried that if they were too slow, the newspapers would be out the next day. He had already abandoned Shintong. If Jiang Zhao's boat also sank, what would his future be like? Then, why don't you discuss this with Madam? If she brings it up, you can protect yourself. I believe that Madam should be a person who knows what's important. Nonsense. Jiang Zhao rejected sternly. She can't come out to clarify anything now. The more she clarifies, the more people will dig into it. It will be a lose-lose situation. Then how do we fight back? The sooner the better. Lu Qing did not want this matter to be published in the newspapers. He was no less anxious than Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao said calmly, "You go back first. After all, for such private news about important political figures, the newspaper company won't dare to publish it without permission. Chen Tong will definitely give the order. If you go to the newspaper company now, tomorrow's page won't be out so soon. I will arrange the rest." Lu Qing looked at Jiang Zhao's calm expression. Even if the sky fell and the earth collapsed, he could still think so calmly. He could not help but admire him. After Lu Qing left, Jiang Zhao took out his phone and called Zhuang Yichen. "Yichen, do you have time?" Zhuang Yichen was holding the phone while lying on top of Qiu Xiaoya. "No time. If you don't have time, then squeeze. I have something important to do now." "Then you might as well not ask. It's unnecessary." "I asked this to pretend to be a gentleman. Can't I?" "Yes, you are a ***. Why can't you?" "If a bad person is not a ***, then what is?" Jiang Zhao said, "A ***, is a ***, not me. I am better than you. You are a ***. Haha, right. You are right. Where are you?" Zhuang Yichen got down from Qiu Xiaoya. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and thought about it. He could not call his father about this. If his father came forward, no newspaper company would dare to publish this. But if his father knew, Yi Er would not be able to survive in this family. Si Jie wanted to go out to play and come back after dinner. The hospital was very boring. Yi Er had to look after Jiang Zhao, so he asked Yun Hongwei to take Si Jie out. Yi Er saw Lu Qing leave and went back to the room. He saw that Jiang Zhao had changed out of the hospital gown and put on his shirt. He was a little surprised. "What are you doing? Are you going out?" Jiang Zhao heard Yi Er's voice and froze. "I'm not going out. I'm meeting someone later." Yi Er felt that Jiang Zhao was a little strange. At this moment his back was facing her. When he spoke he was hesitant, cold, and a little perfunctory. This kind of faint and distant atmosphere appeared out of nowhere. Yi Er's heart tightened. "Oh, what about the dinner that Mom mentioned? You guys go together. I have something to do today, so I won't be going." Jiang Zhao still had his back to Yi Er and buttoned his shirt. He turned around and walked past Yi Er to open the wardrobe and took out the suit he had brought over. Yi Er walked over and took the suit from him. She unfolded it for him. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er's hand holding the suit. He stared until his eyes went numb. He turned around and reached his arm into the sleeve. He lifted it up. The fitting cut and the heavy black color made his handsome face look even scarier. "Hubby, did something happen? Tell me and I'll help you share the burden. I'll thank you 1,000 times if you don't cause trouble for me." Jiang Zhao looked at the mirror on the wardrobe. The bruise at the corner of his mouth would never disappear. He couldn't care less right now. "Mom will send a car to pick you up later. Take Dad and the others to dinner. There's a place for children to play in the hospital. Ask the nurse and accompany Si Jie there. The person I want to meet will be here soon." Yi Er saw that Jiang Zhao was rejecting her like this. It was completely different from his attitude before her mother-in-law came. The blood vessels in her heart twisted, and it was very painful. "Oh, then I'll go out first." Yi Er's voice was weak. She couldn't stand this man's attitude towards her. One moment he was as hot as an erupting volcano. The next moment, he was as cold as 3 feet of ice. There was no reason for him to be good and no reason for him to be bad. He was so annoying. Jiang Zhao watched as Yi Er walked out and closed the door. He took a deep breath and kicked over the trash can in the room. She didn't let him have a break. Zhuang Yichen turned the door lock. As soon as he entered the room, he saw the overturned trash can at the door, and then looked at Jiang Zhao's face standing in front of the desk. He sneered loudly. "Yo, brother Zhao, you're young and aggressive?" Jiang Zhao already knew that he would be like this. If this group of people saw him, they would all laugh at him. The group of people around him were either jackals, wolves, tigers, leopards, or poisonous snakes. None of them were easy to deal with. Isn't it normal to be young and aggressive? Have you heard of old and aggressive people? Haha, yes. Brother Zhao is mighty. You're angry for a beauty, right? Jiang Zhao grabbed a chair and kicked it hard. The chair squeaked and slid unsteadily in front of Zhuang Yichen. Zhuang Yichen raised his hand and pressed the back of the chair to sit down. "Please take a seat. I'm afraid you can't keep up the act of being a gentleman." Jiang Zhao wasn't in the mood to joke. He sat down on the chair next to him. "How much dirt do you have on Qintong?" "A few." "Throw it to me now." "No, Qintong has collapsed now, but Zhuang Jingren won't." Jiang Zhao lit a cigarette. There was a murder case at the Shoreline Phase 3. Qintong suppressed the news. The security guard who injured people was fired 5 days before the attack. He can't be found now. What else? Zhuang Yichen's eyes revealed a hint of a smile. Jiang Zhao took a puff of his cigarette. After the owners of Phase 3 moved in, the property management fees were too high for the owners to bear. The property management company didn't let the owners committee choose a new property management company. The real boss behind the Shoreline Phase 3 property management company is Zhuang Yifeng. It's a residential area with more than 2,000 households and an average of 130 square meters. The property management fees are nearly 4 times higher than normal residential areas. The huge profits are hidden in the sales contract. When the contract was signed, it didn't specify how much property management fees per square meter were. It was only labeled according to the level. Beauty novel Xingwu 799. Chapter 523. Brother Zhao, did Chen force you to spend so much money? Jiang Zhao did not answer and asked, what do you have with him? I do have evidence of him playing with women, but it's really hard to get evidence of corruption and bribery. Someone like Chen Tong is not someone who hasn't seen the world. If he wants to collect money, he won't do it openly. There are many pawns, so there's no hurry. Give me the evidence of him playing with women first. Zhuang Yichen took out his phone, opened his private email, and sent a compressed file to Jiang Zhao. It's quite exciting. The female leads are all top beauties groomed by peerless beauties. It's just that the male lead's looks and figure are too lousy. After uncompressing the photo, Jiang Zhao said to Zhuang Yichen, tell Qiu Xiaoye not to always mislead Yin Yi. She only recognizes money and not people. Does she have to teach Yin Yi to be like that? Zhuang Yichen wanted to laugh when he heard Jiang Zhao's judgment of Qiu Xiaoye. It's good that she only recognizes money and not people. She's always been like that. What else do you want? Can someone you raised turn into something else? Zhuang Yichen shrugged lightly. He did not want to defend himself against other people's judgment. Qiu Xiaoye was a woman who loved money as much as her life. However, he had only given her money once. At that time, she said that she wanted to buy a car. He gave her 5 million, and she bought a 2-seater Focus that cost more than 200,000. The rest of the money went into her personal pocket. She was so angry that she did not sit in his car even once. After that, he never gave her money. If she wanted a house, he could decide the location, the size, and the accessories. He was really afraid that if he gave her money and bought a small 30-square-meter house, he would not be able to resist throwing her into outer space. She's not as bad as you think, but I don't know her well either. Women who just like money are easier to get. Jiang Zhao looked at the photos on his phone and sent one to Chen Tong with the caption, which one is more interesting in tomorrow's newspaper? Women aren't easy to get. Jiang Zhao inadvertently said something that was in his heart. Zhuang Yichen laughed when he heard it. Brother Zhao, your wife is a little troublesome, but you can't stay idle. I can't help it. Although Zhuang Yichen didn't ask Jiang Zhao the reason, his intuition told him that it was because of Yin Yi. Ever since Yin Yi appeared, Jiang Zhao's pace and rhythm were all messed up. He was very steady and accurate, but now he was trying to be steady in his speed. Stability and speed, speed and stability. It was clearly just a reversal of the order, but the literal meaning was already 1,000 miles away. Therefore, he felt that women who were purely materialistic were easy to deal with. Something's wrong with being idle for too long. Jiang Zhao thought about it. Just in case, he had to think of a way to make a clean break. However, things like photos, especially in the digital age, were impossible to clean up. As for Chen Tong, think of a way to tie him to your boat. Seeing that Zhuang Yichen was doubtful, he said, we can't really rope him in with us. It's only temporary. When the time is right, we can kill him at any time. The originally flawless equivalent exchange was undergoing subtle changes as time went by. Chen Tong's photos were not only shown to Jiang Zhao, but also to Family Min, warning them to take care of themselves. Family Min was in the middle of a father-son battle. Min Hongxing threw all the photos in his hand at Min Zikai's face. Disappointing thing. He slapped Min Zikai's face. You disappointing thing. Lan Qiuyue spread her wings to protect Min Han. She hugged him tightly and shouted, Old Min, calm down, calm down. If you want to blame someone, you can't blame Zikai. It must be that vixen from the Yin family who raped our son. Zikai stopped contacting her a long time ago. You still dare to speak up for him. Min Hongxing raised his hand to slap him, but he couldn't find an opening. This bastard will kill our family sooner or later. Min Zikai would have been fine if he didn't see these photos. Once he saw them, he felt as if his heart was being bitten by insects. If it weren't for his family deliberately sending him back and forth, Yi Er wouldn't have been unable to find someone to help him. He also wouldn't have gone to Jiang Zhao, and wouldn't have been together with Jiang Zhao. Thinking of this, he felt incomparably resentful. There was nothing worse than this. Did I kill him? When the Yin family fell, you didn't think that the Yin family would end up like this, right? The Yin family will rise again. If you don't believe me, just watch. You caused my fiancée to become someone else's wife, and you still dare to hit me. If you have the ability, just take out a big stick and break all ties with me. At this time, Min Hongxing was so agitated that his blood rushed to his head. His hands trembled as he walked around the first floor of the villa, looking for something. As he searched, he said, "I'll find a big stick. I'll find a big stick to beat you to death, you unfilial son. I'll beat you to death, you unfilial son." Lan Qiuyue was so scared that her face turned pale. She quickly let go of her son and pulled her husband. She grabbed his hand. Old Min, Zikai said those words out of anger. "We only have one son. If you beat him to death, what will happen? The family men will be cut off. Clang, clang, clang. An iron can rolled down the stairs. The sound attracted the attention of the 3 people on the first floor. Their faces turned cold. The girl was barefooted and wore a light pink sweater. She looked very energetic. Her long curly hair was tied up on her head like a small mop. Her small face revealed a playful smile. She carried her backpack on her back and kicked her feet down the stairs. As she walked, she clapped and cheered. "Wow, so touching. The hen protects the chick, and the eagle is the father. This relationship is so messy. If the eagle eats the chick, the hen will cry to death. The chick is the child of the eagle and the hen. The eagle is so cruel, even eating his own flesh and blood. How can the eagle be so cruel?" Lan Qiuyue looked at the girl and trembled with anger. "You shameless little bastard, who told you to come out? It's none of your business. Go back to your room." "Why should I go back to my room? I want to come out and watch a good show. The family min is cut off. Does the family property belong to me?" The girl laughed louder and louder. When she turned to look at Min Hongxing, her eyes were like knives. Min Hongxing looked at the girl's eyes and asked softly, "Qing Su, do you want to go out and play?" Qing Su raised her head in an unfriendly manner and said, "And I want to go out and play. Get someone to send me out." Okay. But it's so late. Be careful. If you don't have enough money, you have to tell Dad. I'm not like some prodigal playthings. How can I spend so fast? Then I'll go first. Hit harder." Qing Su stuck out her tongue at Min Zikai. Min Zikai rolled his eyes at Qing Su. "Little bastard." Qing Su felt a pain in her heart. She held the strap of her backpack and said with a relaxed face, "Oh, I'm your father's little bastard. In my eyes, you're also a little bastard." Min Zikai really wanted to take a knife and kill this 17-year-old girl. Just when he was about to attack, Min Hongxing shouted, "She's your sister. You should pay attention to what you say to her." Qing Su shook her head and smiled. She tiptoed out of the door. "She never treated me as her brother. That's because you and your mother haven't been nice to her since she entered the family. Qing Su is a good child." Lan Qiuyue was angry. Until now, she still doesn't want to take your surname. She's still surnamed Lu. You treat her as your child. She's just a white-eyed wolf. You're really happy to raise her. Shut up. Min Zikai didn't want to pay attention to this war. He felt that he was forced to get involved in the grievances of the previous generation. He picked up the photo on the floor and went upstairs. The man and woman in the photo were so compatible in his eyes. When he called Jiang Zhao had just sent Zhuang Yichen off. Min Zikai's finger gently stroked the photo. The 2 people's lips were tightly pressed together. That kind of taste he couldn't forget. If it wasn't for Jiang Zhao. Hearing the other side answer, "Jiang Zhao, I have something in my hands that you'll be very interested in." Jiang Zhao scornfully said, "I've never been interested in the things in your hands." Min Zikai sneered, "Is that so? Aren't you interested in my Yi heir? Since you're not interested, then give it back to me." Jiang Zhao was angry when he thought about what had happened today, but he didn't want anyone to feel his anger. However, he couldn't help but speak in a sarcastic manner. "Yi heir? Is she yours? Don't you have any shame when you say this? Is there any meaning in your kind of playful engagement? Is it fun to order and cancel at the same time? The game is already over, and you're still playing it alone? Jiang Zhao, I have a photo of Yi heir and me being intimate. I think if I release it, you'll definitely get a divorce. If you don't believe me, we'll see." What photo? Jiang Zhao's hand that was holding the phone was trembling. Oh, when she was working at Peerless Beauty. This photo was taken quite well. We were both very moved. Tomorrow, everyone in Haiqing will see how compatible Yi Er and I are. We're a match made in heaven. Jiang Zhao hadn't expected that after eating a cicada, another oriole would appear behind him. He had been too depressed about what had happened today. Until now, he finally couldn't take it anymore. He kicked the chair in front of him away. The veins on his hands were bulging and throbbing. Even his voice was trembling as he shouted, Min Zikai, if you dare to provoke me, I'll let you know that your family Min is nothing. Uf*Ker, get out of here. As Min Zikai listened to Jiang Zhao's roar, a sense of vengeance welled up in his heart. It was as if he had finally won a battle after losing for a long time. Jiang Zhao, you and Yi Er are not compatible at all. Min Zikai, you'll regret calling me today. After Jiang Zhao finished speaking calmly, he hung up the phone and slammed it on the table. Ever since he met this woman, he had frequently thrown his phone and smashed things. He couldn't control his emotions. Time and time again she embarrassed him. But even so, he still wanted to hold on to her. Yi Er kept pacing back and forth in the corridor. The soundproofing of the private hospital's rooms was quite good. Even though the environment was quiet, she still couldn't hear what was happening in the room. She only knew that there was a lion in the room, roaring from time to time and scolding people from time to time. At this moment, she heard him smashing things. When she ran over, her strides were very big. She was very tall, so it didn't take her long to reach her destination. But when she held the doorknob, she was clearly inside, but she felt that the distance had increased. She twisted the doorknob open and saw that the man had kicked the chairs and trash can all over the floor. The buttons on his suit were already unbuttoned. When his eyes turned around, they were glaring at her. She stood at the door panting. She didn't dare to breathe too loudly. Add Xingwu 799. Chapter 524. She was like a bird that bumped right into a hunter's gun. She wanted to go over and beg for mercy. Don't point the gun at me. I still want to fly, but she didn't dare. She was afraid that the hunter would shoot as soon as she walked over. At this time, the setting sun was hanging on the small building not far away from the window. It was a large patch of red, like an extra-large blood navel orange. A knife would definitely cause bright red juice to flow out. Her eyes were wide open. They blinked, and became brighter and brighter. The drop of blood outside the building was also reflected in her eyes. Zhao. She called out softly, her breath trembling slightly. Jiang Zhao looked at the woman standing carefully at the door. No matter how well he treated her, how much he protected her and didn't let her be wronged, she was still very careful in front of him. It was fine if he didn't see her. Once he saw her, his anger and blood mixed together, and he wanted to rush out. People were always so selfish. It wasn't that he didn't investigate when she lied to him about 300,000 yuan a night at Peerless Beauty. He didn't know what kind of mentality he had. In short, he did investigate. He thought that she would have a messy private life, but in the end, she didn't. He felt that it was an unexpected gain. No matter how much trouble she made, no matter how much she schemed against him, he would think that she didn't scheme against anyone else. If she ran to scheme against someone else, he wouldn't have anything to do with her. Wasn't it good that way? But what did she and Min Zikai mean? Why don't you go and find Dad? Jiang Zhao asked coldly. He felt that he couldn't talk to her about Min Zikai. He couldn't ask her about the photos. Some things, once exposed, could not be covered up. He didn't know whether he was trying so hard to cover it up today, because he was afraid that she wouldn't have a status in the family, or because he was afraid that after being questioned, she would fight back with her fearless personality. If she stuck her head out, she would be stabbed, and if she retracted her head, she would be stabbed. She might say, then let's get a divorce. Jiang Zhao, oh Jiang Zhao, is the word divorce really so scary? When I went out I couldn't find them, Zhao. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao. There was a thin throat in her neck. She swallowed her saliva and the tears that she forced back. Zhao, what's the matter? Can't you tell me? It's nothing. Go and find a place to stroll around. Mom will send someone over later. Are you chasing me away? No. I want to be alone for a while. He was thinking, how dare he chase her away? Xianya was still staying in this hospital, and Min Zikai was waiting outside. She was ruthless. Even though she was married to him, there were still peach blossoms everywhere, and they were all F*King custom made. Didn't they say that they would wilt after spring? She even had to raise a high-temperature furnace to get rid of them. He had never known that peach blossoms were divided into different levels, and the energy to get rid of them was actually so exhausting. Yi stood at the door and paused for a long time. She really didn't know what this man wanted to do. He was so good one moment, and so bad the next. She didn't know what she did wrong again, or what her mother-in-law said. You have something against me, don't you? No. If you don't, then why are you giving me that look? When Yi shouted, she finally vented the pent-up anger in her heart. She felt sullen. No matter how much she wanted to be with him, he was always so unpredictable. He could control her mood however he wanted. She walked in and slammed the door with a bang. This kind of action was not allowed in the hospital. Firstly, it would affect the rest of the patients. Secondly, it would make one's character seem too low. Yi couldn't care less about those things. She just wanted an explanation. She just wanted to figure out what Jiang Zhao was trying to do. Did he feel so good when he was torturing her? Yunyi, I advise you to leave this room immediately. Jiang Zhao rubbed his temples and turned around. He restrained himself and persuaded himself not to quarrel. Quarreling wouldn't solve anything. He still had a lot of things to do. Jiang Zhao, you want me to get out of your sight forever, don't you? You want me to never appear in front of you again, don't you? Yi felt that she actually had self-esteem. It was just that she had been stepping on her self-esteem to please him. In the past, when she didn't have feelings for him, it didn't matter. She treated herself as an object, a pet. It was only right for her to please her master. But when she gave her feelings and longed for something in return, every time she stepped on her self-esteem to please him, she felt that her self-esteem was like her heart. It hurt every time she stepped on it. She actually hated the feeling of her heart being stepped on until it hurt. Now, she couldn't tell whether she was persevering for her father's sake, or because she couldn't bear to. When she saw the man she liked disdaining her from time to time, she never knew that the word cheap could be so sharp and painful. In the past, when she said it, so what if she was cheap? Cheap women didn't want to live? Cheap men could be found everywhere. Cheap people were also human. They could still be promoted. She didn't think that it was a big deal for rich girls to use hallucinogens and take erotic photos to threaten people. Wasn't it just cheap? It was fine as long as she achieved her goal. The process didn't matter. The result was the most important. She didn't think it was a big deal for her to climb into his bed for her brother. It was just cheap. The discomfort in her heart would pass quickly. It wasn't a big deal. But God was always fair. Humans always had to have the right values. In order to punish her, he let her slowly fall into his trap and suffer the consequences. Only now did she know that the real cheap thing was not selling one's body. It was selling one's heart, but the other party didn't want it. Jiang Zhao, what do you plan to do? Do you want me to never appear in front of you again and make you hate me? Ah. Yi had just finished repeating her words when the man lifted her by the waist and threw her onto the bed. Her legs were still hanging on the ground. Her waist was bent backward, and she felt very uncomfortable. The words that he did not want her to say, she still said it like this. When she said it, he wanted to strangle her to death. He pressed her down on the bed and said, Yunyi, or tell me, what do you want to do? What do you want? Tell me, what do you want? Jiang Zhao sobbed. Yi hugged Jiang Zhao, who was pressing on top of her. She pressed her face against his chest and sobbed softly. Jiang Zhao, I want a family. A warm family. Someone will treat me well. Someone will take care of my father and my brother. I want a family to live happily together. Jiang Zhao, I want a family. Sob, sob, sob. Just a second ago, the man had wanted to tear the woman apart, but he suddenly loosened his grip on the woman's neck. He felt that his hand must be ice cold because when he touched the tears on her face was boiling hot, as if it had been heated by a charcoal fire. Even her tears had been heated up. Yinyi. Jiang Zhao buried his face in the hollow of Yi Er's neck. Yin Yi, he shouted again. You said that we would live happily after we got married. Do you remember? I remember. I said that we would live happily together. Yi Er hurriedly nodded. It was as if she wanted to grab the man and make him promise her. Jiang Zhao's face was still buried in the hollow of Yi Er's neck. He didn't move, but his hand rubbed Yi Er's face hard. It was as if he was helping her wipe her tears, but also as if he was trying to find support for himself. He was seeking some kind of comfort. His voice was a little erratic. That erratic voice had an indescribable lack of confidence. Yin Yi, behave yourself. I know you're still young and curious about everything. You feel that you haven't experienced this before, and you haven't experienced that before. But if you want to live happily with me, you have to behave yourself. Behave yourself. Do you understand? I know. I'll definitely listen to you. Hubby, I'll listen to you. I definitely won't do anything that you don't want me to do. I definitely won't. The man lay on the woman's body. He suddenly felt that he had no energy at all. It was as if he had been drained. He was very tired. It had only been a few months. These few months were the most torturous months for him. No matter what he did, he had to consider this woman's feelings. Would she be sad? Would she be unhappy? Would she feel depressed because of certain things? He had never felt that he had done anything wrong. Even when he was forced to get married in the first place, it was fine to get married. Even when his mother reprimanded him today, he felt that he had done nothing wrong. What had he done wrong? He had only scooped up a person. Was it worth suppressing the anger of the entire family? The person he scooped up wasn't just anyone. It was his wife's father. The person he scooped up was related to how much of a smile his wife had on her face. It was also related to whether his wife's smile was genuine. He just wanted to make his wife's life more comfortable. If his wife was happy, he would also be happy. He felt that this was right. It wasn't worth it for the entire family to be so calculative and give them a hard time from time to time. There were so many officials who worked for their families. They were everywhere. Which official dared to jump out and say that they were innocent and that they hadn't tainted a single cent of money? There were definitely some, but he didn't believe that those who had reached his position wouldn't do so. He had worked hard for the Qin family and the Zhuo family all these years. He had worked hard to earn money all these years and always said that he was the one who had suffered losses. But it was his duty to help them. He scooped up a person for his wife. Why should he be blamed? After today's incident, for the first time, he felt that the path of politics was really tiring. He had never felt this way before. It felt good to be in a high position. Now he felt that he should be like his brother. He should retire from the army and go straight into business. Squeezing into this path was just looking for trouble for himself. His private life was being watched all day long. It was always the people doing this and that. The people were so king amazing. He didn't believe that those people didn't have ex-boyfriends and hadn't kissed their ex-boyfriends. If the people kissed their ex-boyfriends, should they king get a divorce? Otherwise, should their character be questioned? The people were all reincarnated from the king Buddha. They had a pure heart and few desires. They were as kind as distilled water. He deserved to be kinder than the people. His wife should be even more distilled than distilled water to be worthy of the people. The more he thought about it, the more tired he felt. After Yi Er finished speaking, the man didn't reply for a long time. She felt a little uneasy and called out softly, "Hubby." No one responded. She pushed Jiang Zhao, but the man didn't move at all. She called out again, "Hubby," until she heard the man's even breathing. Fell asleep? God! She had never seen anyone fall asleep from quarreling. It was too tiring to have her waist pressed down like this. But the man was heavy and seemed to be exhausted. If it were any other time, she would have kicked him a few times to make him get off. But today, she couldn't be so cruel. She felt sorry for him even though he was so rough with her. She still felt sorry for him. Welfare Hongcha 866. Chapter 525. When she looked up at the ceiling, she reached out to hold the man's head. In the palm of her hand was his thick hair. She gently applied pressure with her fingers. She heard that the top of the head had the most acupuncture points in the body. If she pressed it gently, it would make people feel relaxed. She tried her best to use the appropriate amount of strength to massage him. Then she listened to the sound of his breathing. It was as if it was late at night, and he was right next to her pillow. Every time that happened, she would feel that her days were especially peaceful. Yi sniffled. The ceiling light in front of her had a double image. She blinked and squeezed the tears out of her eyes. The light above became clear again. When she murmured, her voice choked up like a broken teardrop. Jiang Zhao, you asked me what I want. Actually, what I want the most is you. What I want the most is you. She heard him ask her what she wanted. What did she want? Actually, she wanted a family. Not only did she have a father and a brother, but she couldn't do without him. Without him, it wouldn't be like it was now. What kind of family would it be? What kind of family would it be if there wasn't even a pillar of support? She felt that the pillar of support had changed from her father to her husband on the day of her wedding. She thought about how she drugged him and took photos of him. About her brother's matter. She even went to his door to discuss the terms of exchange. She felt that life was like a dream. When she woke up, everything had changed. It was completely different from what she had imagined in her dream. Everything in her dream was no longer there. Everything had disappeared along with the noisy alarm clock in the morning. Yi sighed. Her hand that was massaging the man's scalp was a little numb. She moved it away and opened and closed it a few times. When the discomfort was gone, she began to massage gently again. He must be enjoying it. She had never served him like this before. He slept so soundly like this. Yi couldn't help but chuckle. She felt gratified but also a little self-deprecating. If only we didn't meet like this. If only I didn't sell myself in front of you so shamelessly, you wouldn't look down on me. If only I didn't despicably ask you to marry me, you wouldn't throw tantrums at me. I know that I've affected your life and even your future. From the time the Qin family objected, I knew that I wasn't good enough for you. Not only was I despicable, I was selfish. I really didn't think so much back then. I was too selfish. I only thought about myself. I wanted to find someone to rely on, but I didn't expect to become your burden. Her nose was a little congested, and her nasal sound was very heavy. She closed her mouth and forced her breath through her nostrils. She felt better again. You hate me to the core. You hate a burden like me to the core. But with your status, I'm sure you won't dare to divorce me. You must be afraid that a vicious woman like me will go out and ruin you after you divorce me. In fact, if it were in the past, I would definitely do that. I would definitely go out and ruin you. I would definitely return the favor. I would definitely not let you live a good life. Yi spoke very, very slowly. Not only did she speak slowly, but she would also pause after one or two sentences. When she paused, she would sniff hard. She could sniff with her nose, but she couldn't suck in her tears. I really regret it now. I regret forcing you like that. But I have nothing. I'm afraid of wolves in front of me and tigers behind me. I grew so tall, but it was all in vain. I'm just a fake. Now that I think about it, you were the only one by my side. If I didn't rely on you, who would I rely on? I was afraid that you would dump me. I was really afraid that you would dump me. If you dumped me, what would I do? My younger brother can only be a waiter at a nightclub. I still have a father. I'm useless. You said that I'm a little fox, but I didn't learn anything other than to pretend to be a fox. Actually, it's useless even if I regret it. Really, I don't want a divorce even if I regret it. I'm more afraid that you would dump me now. I feel that I can still work hard. I can still fight for it. I think that if I persevere a little longer, perhaps you won't find me an eyesore from time to time. Perhaps when you're unhappy, you won't get angry at me for no reason. I'm not as beautiful as Ouyangyan. I'm not as gentle as her, and I'm not as sensible as her. But I'm younger than her. Although I'll grow old in the future. Won't she be even older when I'm 30? Don't you men always say that beauty fades away? Jiang Zhao, I actually just want you. I want both your body and your heart. I know that I'm a little greedy, but I'm still young. I can still wait. But please don't let me wait until the day I can't take it anymore, okay? Yi muttered to herself. Her slow and weak tone was filled with inferiority. She remembered the first time she met Ouyang. When she saw Jiang Zhao walk past her to help that woman up, she felt inferior. Actually, she had always felt inferior since then. In the past, she didn't feel anything. She generously thought that she was purely a sinister person who was just being used. But when another woman appeared by his side, she felt danger. She felt that she was quite inferior. Her face wasn't as beautiful as her. Her temperament wasn't as elegant as her. And her feelings weren't as deep as her. It turned out that when one was compared to another person in one's heart and felt inferior, it would make one feel inferior. Yi touched her waist. It was counterbalanced on the bed. It was going to break. She had to move. Otherwise, she would become a cripple. She would be even worse than Ouyang. Moreover, it wasn't comfortable for him to sleep on his stomach like this. She hugged the man's waist and turned over with him in her arms. Halfway through, the man opened his eyes as if he was startled. This gaze made Yi feel guilty. If she had known earlier, she would have let him continue to sleep. Phew, Jiang Zhao exhaled. He sat up and rubbed his face. He turned his head and looked at Yi lying down again. What's wrong? Yi frowned. She reached over and rubbed her waist. Just now you fell asleep on top of me. Now my waist is so numb. I can't get up. Jiang Zhao quickly stood up and bent down. He reached into Yi's back and rubbed it. Why didn't you wake me up? How heavy was I when I fell asleep? Are you stupid? The man's tone was full of reproach. His words were heavy, and the woman's eyes reddened. He knew that he had scared her to tears. This time, she was just anxious. He was actually blaming himself when he reprimanded her. However, this made her eyes redden again. Okay. I won't say anymore. I won't say anymore. Good girl, I won't say anymore. Don't move. I'll help you rub it. You can only move when you feel better. I don't know if it will hurt your bones. I have to get a doctor to feel it. Jiang Zhao muttered to himself. Yi twisted her waist. It's okay. I don't feel anything anymore. Jiang Zhao helped Yi sit up. He straightened his shirt and picked up a chair from the ground. He placed it in front of Yi and sat down. Yi, a pure woman. Yes. From now on you have to be obedient like Yi Gai. Don't cause trouble. Don't do anything that makes me angry. Be a good Mrs. Jiang. Do you understand? Yi had always known that Jiang Zhao liked obedient girls. He liked obedient girls. He liked girls who were sensible like Ouyang. Even Ouyang himself said that Sung Tingting was acting. She was acting as Ouyang. I know. Jiang Zhao reached out and stroked Yi's head. He nodded. This was all he could say. He just wanted her to be obedient. He would take things one step at a time and solve them slowly. However, he couldn't bring himself to get a divorce just because of those photos. In the past, he had thought that Big Brother was a weirdo. No man would be able to stand sister-in-law's incident. How could Big Brother be so resolute? Now he knew that it was just that he hadn't encountered it before. What happened to him wasn't a big deal. It was just that he was more unfortunate than Big Brother. His path was different, so he couldn't deal with it that way. It turned out that all the men in the Jiang family were like this. He just wanted this family to be perfect. No matter what he did, he wouldn't go overboard. Min Zikai had delivered himself to him. He didn't want to be so ruthless. Jiang Zhao got up and opened the mini fridge. He took out a bottle of mineral water and took it out. He sat back down on the chair and took out a piece of tissue to dry the water on the bottle. He then placed it on Yi's eyes. Close your eyes and apply this. If Dad sees it later, he will say that I bullied you. You can't say bad things about me in front of Dad. I care a lot about my reputation. Yi's back was bent. She supported her face with her hands in front of Jiang Zhao. She let him apply the compress on her eyes. At this moment she laughed. I will protect my husband's image no matter where I go. Don't worry. My husband is a good husband. He treats me very well and has never bullied me. You only know how to flatter. Yi pouted. Everything I say is the truth. I never flatter. Jiang Zhao looked at Fun's tender little mouth in front of him and couldn't help but reach over and give it a kiss. Very poor. Yi was flattered by Jiang Zhao's sudden kiss. It was true that this man was unpredictable. She wanted to take this opportunity to be intimate with him. It could also be considered as a form of communication. So, she snatched the bottle of mineral water from his hand and held it in her hand. Hubby, it's not enough. Ye shamelessly acted coquettishly. What's not enough? One kiss is not enough. I want to kiss you many times. She pouted and went straight for Jiang Zhao's lips. Jiang Zhao laughed and stepped back. No kissing, no kissing. Go away, you dirty and wild girl. Yi jumped off the bed and straddled Jiang Zhao's legs. She hooked her arms around his neck. Who said that? I'm very clean. I bathe every day. I'm very obedient and gentle. I can cook and massage hubby. How can I be dirty and wild? You slandered me. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Hubby, kiss me. Kiss me. No kissing, no kissing. I never kiss casually. You don't kiss casually. How can we be considered casual? We have a marriage certificate. It's legal for us to kiss. Our marriage certificate is stamped with a steel seal, right? Is that so? Yes. Come on, come on. Give me a kiss. No. Come on, come on. The man said as he kissed her. Yinyi, you actually forced me. You're the one who's forcing me. The man's tongue began to suck deeply. His hands also began to move restlessly. Yinyi, Yi breathing became a little hurried. The phone was suddenly noisy. Jiang Zhao really wanted to know how a phone that had fallen to the ground could be so good. Was it made of transformative steel? Before picking up the phone, he pulled down Yi collar and bit on the soft white skin. Let's go home tonight. The hospital bed is too small. I don't like it. Jiang Zhao knew that Yi was probably worried about his injury. You'll be fine after you come back tomorrow to take the X-ray. Oh, beauty novel Xinwu 799. Chapter 526. The call was from Qinzhen. She was already outside the hospital and had booked a restaurant. She was coming to pick him up. Jiang Zhao's absence made Qinzhen a little angry. After all, he was an important person. However, Jiang Zhao felt that he couldn't split himself up. No matter how many people were unhappy today, he didn't have time to attend this small family dinner. He was only absent to make the family dinner more harmonious in the future. He had to deal with that pile of mess. He couldn't allow a brat to ride on his head like that. If it was an ordinary matter, he would take it slow. At most, he could deal with it in a few days. However, this was not an ordinary matter. After the whole family left, Jiang Zhao took out the phone that hadn't been smashed. Holding the phone in his hand, he sorted out the clues one by one. He had to draw a strategic map for himself. Jiang Zhao knew that it was impossible to keep it a secret from his family. However, he couldn't reveal anything to his elders. In fact, his father was the most effective. His father had always had a fiery temper. However, his only weakness was that he was much more polite to the Qin and Zhou family than to the Jiang family. He would grant almost all of their requests. After watching for so many years, he could see some things. Therefore, a man's marriage couldn't be casually divorced. After suffering for so many years, his mother was still arrogant. The two of them kept fighting like this and didn't feel tired. The first call was to Qin Fian. Fian, Jiang Zhao paused. Even if he had thought it through, his logic was a little messy. Brother, what's the matter? Qin Fian asked in a low voice. It was less teasing than usual. And are you ready to eat? I have something to tell you. Let's talk face to face. Qin Fian was preparing to get off work early. Looking at the schedule on the tablet, his beautiful phoenix eyes slightly narrowed. His knuckles were long and white as he rested them on the tip of his nose. In less than 2 seconds, he said, Should I pick you up or set a place to meet? I'll go to your apartment and order takeout. Qin Fian smiled. Brother, you're not going to talk to me about big secrets like smuggling military firearms or drug deals, right? Why don't you say that I want to introduce a boyfriend to you? Qin Fian said, sigh. You know that I'm very single-minded when it comes to relationships. I haven't thought about changing boyfriends. Then it's settled. You can call and order the takeout. It's at your place. You're treating. Brother, can I go to your house and order takeout? No matter what, you're still the big brother. Jiang Zhao said as if he didn't want to be taken advantage of. I have a family, so it's not convenient for me to go to my house. Since you're married, I'll treat you to takeout. Okay, 2 vegetarian dishes and 1 meat dish for 10 RMB. Qin Fian said as he put away the pen and notebook on the table. See you later. After hanging up the phone, Qin Fian dialed his secretary's line. Beauty, cancel tonight's dinner for me, or you can arrange for the vice president to entertain other guests. Handsome man, I got it. I wish you a beautiful night. The secretary, who was called Beauty, replied. You really know how to talk. I'll give you a bonus of 50 yuan. Can't I give you an extra 0? Sure, give me a decimal point and add a 0. Qin Fian had already put the important things into his briefcase and stood up. Handsome man, if you weren't so stingy, you'd be even more beautiful and have better luck with women. Qin Fian smiled. Beauty, I'm very single-minded. I'll get off work first. Don't forget to check in when it's time, or your money will be deducted. Goodbye, capitalist. Qin Fian reached out and picked up his pair of glasses without lenses from the table. He stuck them on the bridge of his nose, pushed them up, took his briefcase and went out. Qin Fian's office area was filled with countless beauties. They all got along well with each other. There was no such thing as a secret crush on the boss and framing each other. Occasionally there would be 1 or 2 complaints. If only the president wasn't gay. He's so beautiful. What a pity. If he wasn't gay, would you still be in the mood to go to work? You'd be looking at the president's office every day and drooling, right? Yeah, now that I think about it, he's always sleeping with a man at night. I really can't imagine drooling. Anyway, it's such a pity. Qin Fian sat in the back of the car. He pushed his glasses up and looked at the bid in his hand. He said to the person in the front passenger seat, who leaked the news that we're going to take the land in 326. Also, the second subway line is going to pass through there. Who spread the rumor? The person in the front passenger seat was the vice president of the planning department, Lu Yong. Lu Yong also had a puzzled look on his face. This matter needs to be investigated thoroughly. Boss, I suspect, Qin Fian said coldly. Anyone with a discerning eye can see the internal strife in your planning department. But if the vice president's annual salary is 1 million, even if the president of the planning department is killed and the company suffers losses, the president will only get 300,000 a year. What's the point? Lu Yong turned his head and immediately tried to clear his name. Boss, this matter has nothing to do with me. I'll definitely investigate it thoroughly. Qin Fian took off his glasses and held it in his hand. His refined appearance was gone, and only a sharp and dangerous gaze was left. He looked directly into Qin Fian's eyes. His voice was not too fast, but it was cold and indifferent. Don't find out who leaked the news. I've seen enough of these petty tricks. I don't care who leaked the news. 326 must be bought at the original price, and the price can't be more than 4%. Otherwise, whether it's the president or the vice president of the planning department, they'll have to pack up and leave. Lu Yong's back was covered in sweat. Boss, I understand. Okay. Qin Fian put his glasses back on, as if he hadn't said anything. The driver stopped the car at Highway Restaurant, and Lu Yong got out. The car started again, and the direction was Qin Fian's apartment, Yuan. Just as they arrived at the garage, Jiang Zhao's car also arrived at Qin Fian's garage. Qin Fian saw Jiang Zhao get out of the car, and then looked at the wound on his face. He was a little annoyed, and his brows wrinkled a little. He walked over and didn't ask about the injury. Brother, I've already called for takeout. It should be delivered in about 20 minutes. Let's go. Qin Fian's apartment couldn't be compared to Jiang Zhao's new house. It was similar to an apartment in the north of the city, with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. The modern design made use of a variety of fashionable decorations and bright colors. The balcony was spacious, and it was directly integrated into the living room. There was a treadmill, sandbags, mechanical dumbbells, and many other fitness equipment. Jiang Zhao glanced at it and walked directly to the dining room. He opened the refrigerator and took out a bottle of mineral water from a pile of beer, fruit wine, and other drinks. He unscrewed the cap and drank in big mouthfuls. Brother, if you need something from me, Just tell me. I'll do my best. Qin Fian also took out a bottle of water from the refrigerator and unscrewed it. He felt that brothers were like this. Sometimes there was no need to say too much. You would know if something was wrong with him just by looking at his eyes or some actions. Jiang Zhao took the bottle of mineral water, walked to the sofa in the living room, and sat down. Okay, I won't beat around the bush with you. I've run into some trouble now, and I need you to help me and ask my dad to help me. Qin Fian also walked over and sat on the sofa across from the tea machine. Oh, is it convenient for you to tell me? Do you have any ideas on how to handle it? Jiang Zhao licked his lips. You know that your sister-in-law used to be Min Zikai's fiancée. There are very few people in Haiqing who don't know. Okay, I know. Before we got married, she worked as a waitress at Peerless Beauty. At the time, Min Zikai went to pester her, and Chen Tong, who was monitoring Min Zikai, took some ambiguous photos. Min Zikai also has those photos now. He wants to release them, and once these photos are released, Jiang Zhao didn't mention that the photos were of a deep kiss. His original intention was to draw the line between Yi Er and Min Zikai, so he pushed all the blame to Min Zikai. He didn't finish his sentence and just looked at Qin Fian. Qin Fian took off his glasses. His face, which was prettier than a girl's, now had a serious aura, which was particularly eye-catching. He looked at Jiang Zhao's hesitant expression and said, Once these photos are released, there's no need to talk about her future. Sister-in-law will be embarrassed in the future, and she probably won't be able to survive in the family anymore. Divorce should be the end, right? Jiang Zhao nodded, then shook his head. I won't follow in my parents' footsteps. Your sister-in-law doesn't even know about this yet. Brother, since uncle has to step in for this matter, then I have a way. But we can't just let Min Zikai off like this, can we? Qin Fian could tell from Jiang Zhao's brief words that he didn't want a divorce at all. Perhaps he cared more about this marriage than his future. If that was the case, Min Zikai, that bastard, was ruining Jiang Zhao's happiness. Jiang Zhao's face was resolute and handsome. At this moment his teeth were clenched, and those lines were even harder. His dark eyebrows relaxed, as if he was about to heave a sigh of relief. I know. I'll take care of the family men. But you have to be quick about father's side. Moreover, it's father's order. If I go and greet him, I'll owe him a favor. It's a completely different concept. You have to cancel today's news first. I'll give uncle a call first. If necessary, I'll go and look for him immediately. Brother, I think we should let Zhuahao deal with this matter. Min Zikai, that bastard, is too full of himself. How much does he think his family min is worth? How dare he provoke our family? Qin Fian knew that whether it was the Qin family, the Zhua family, or the Jiang family, the family rules always revolved around the principle of not doing things openly. This didn't mean that they had to swallow their anger. It was just that they weren't afraid of causing trouble. In the end, it was just a way to show the demeanor of a big family. It was just a way to put on a high profile. Yes. From tomorrow onwards, the family men won't be able to live a peaceful life anymore. Jiang Zhao knew that he could negotiate with Chen Tong. Whether it was coercion or temptation, it was necessary to negotiate with him. However, he could also negotiate with Min Zikai, but he couldn't take it lying down. As for Shi Unwu, because of their friendship from the previous generation, he had already suffered internal injuries from holding back. If Min Zikai, who was not related to him, still asked him to hold back, he really wanted to kill him. The takeout was delivered. Although it wasn't fast food, it really was 2 vegetables, 1 meat, and 1 soup. Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian only took a few bites and were done with it. Qin Fian called Jiang Liqing. His voice and expression were like that of a professionally trained artist who was still in shock. Uncle, good uncle, biological uncle. What Jiang Liqing liked most was to be called a relative by the Qin family. Hey Fian. Uncle, I'm in big trouble. You have to help me. Don't let Grandpa know. Oh. Add, Songshu 566. Chapter 527. Now the photos of me and my boyfriend have been sent to the news agency. Actually, it would be fine if we were just shopping or something, but it just had to be very intimate. Uncle, it's the kind that is very, very intimate. When Qin Fian was lying exaggeratedly, he glanced at Jiang Zhao from time to time. When he did, he purposely raised his eyebrows. When Jiang Zhao gave him a thumbs up, he continued to shake his head and make up stories, almost crying. It's just that I don't know why, but the photos of us being intimate at home were taken very clearly by the paparazzi with their long cannons. Uncle, only you can help me. Although I admit that I'm gay, I don't want to show such photos to others. And if these photos are released, my grandfather will definitely be so angry that his heart will stop beating. The last time I admitted that I'm gay, he was hospitalized for half a month and had to be put on oxygen for a week. You know that. As Jiang Zhao listened to Qin Fian's story, he collapsed on the sofa and grabbed a pillow to cushion his head. Looking at Qin Fian's vivid description of the so-called erotic photos, he laughed until tears almost came out of his eyes. Jiang Liqing found it hard to understand at first that Qin Fian was gay, but after all these years, everyone had gotten used to it. It was fine if everyone in Haiqing knew about it, but at least there were no messy rumors. He thought that if this was his own son, he would really beat him to death. Pooh. His son wasn't gay, but he also treated Fei Yan as half a son. There were some things that the family could not force, so he didn't care about it and let it be. But in private he still put in some effort. Whether Fei Yan was gay or not, he felt that this was a family matter. Moreover, Fei Yan was now begging him in such a soft voice. The old man was indeed angry. Not to mention the extent of those photos. Just listening to them made his scalp tingle. If they were really published in the newspapers, the moment the old man saw them, he would probably really kick the bucket. Don't worry, Uncle will immediately send someone to inform them. Jiang Liqing felt that this method was very fast. Even if it was a printed article, it still had to be removed. Qin Fian's phone was on speakerphone. Jiang Zhao heard it, and immediately raised his hand to chop. After denying it, he drew a line in the air and made a hand chop at the end, indicating that Fian was going to cut off his escape route. Qin Fian immediately understood. Uncle, why don't you give them a message? Roughly say, don't meddle in the affairs of our Qin and Jiang families. No one should meddle in anything. I feel that this way. It also shows that you don't know that they have my photos. And after saying this, they won't dare to find news about me in the future. Good uncle, I know that although I am a little disappointing, but you have always doted on me. Uncle, I promise that I will be more careful in the future, and won't cause trouble for uncle. Jiang Zhao turned over, looked at Fei Yan and patted his butt. Qin Fian looked at Jiang Zhao's actions, and listened to the silent Jiang Liqing's sigh on the other end of the phone. He continued. Uncle, I also know that you are a commander, and it is a waste of talent for you to care about such a small matter like me. And I also know that uncle has great military achievements and must hate to get involved in such a dirty matter like me. Uncle, actually I also don't want to trouble you, but who asked you to be the only one in such a big family who can suppress this matter? Who asked everyone in Haiqing to give you face? If I look for Zhua Hao, not to mention his military rank, his prestige is not even on the same level as yours. If I look for Uncle Zhua, his mouth definitely won't be as virtuous as big uncle's. Once he finds out, he will definitely complain to Grandpa. I really don't trust him. Uncle, if you don't help me, I will definitely be dead. My boyfriend is making a fuss about suicide. Big uncle, biological uncle, please be merciful and save his life. Jiang Liqing felt very guilty when he heard this. What did he mean by saying that he found Fei Yan dirty? This child felt that way? Although the whole family couldn't completely accept that he was gay, they would never use the word dirty to describe him. How could he think of him like that? In his heart, he felt that this child was very fragile. Fian, don't worry about this matter. Uncle won't tell Grandpa. Don't think too much. I will go and greet him right away. Don't think too much. Uncle has never looked down on you. Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian could be considered to have worked together to scheme against Jiang Liqing. After hanging up, they high-fived to celebrate. Jiang Liqing had only hung up on Fei Yan for 2 minutes when he personally used the military base's landline to make a call. After the call went through, Jiang Liqing straightened his back. His voice and posture were also high and mighty. After exchanging a few pleasantries, he started the main topic. Old Joe, I didn't offend you, right? Old Joe was puzzled and nervous. What are you saying, Chief? If you ask me, we can be considered acquaintances. You are in charge of cultural news and publicity. You clearly know that there are some things that are disadvantageous to our family. Can't you suppress them on account of our old acquaintance? Isn't the advertising fees in the newspapers better than a glass of wine from an old friend? Chief, what you are saying is really. Old Joe was already sweating a little. He hurriedly waved to his assistant, Little Lee, who had just entered the office. He took a pen and wrote on a piece of paper. What news about the Jiang and Qin families? Really what? Can't you be more open-minded about young people's matters? Can't you give us a way out? Why do you have to be so ruthless? Jiang Liqing said slowly. His tone sounded like he was begging, but in reality, it was a blatant threat. West of the city, Little Lee saw that Old Joe's expression was not right, and hurriedly went out to take a copy of the provincial newspaper into the office. Old Joe looked at the headline and gimmick of the newspaper. The sweat on his head became secondary. The sweat on his body had already soaked Wei Qiu's thin sweater. When Jiang Liqing heard that Old Joe did not say anything, his voice became colder. Old Joe, I have already made things very clear today. I won't go into detail. Just send out a notice similar to a document. It's best that all the big and small newspapers don't get involved in our family's matters. Although I will retire in a few years, even if I retire now, in High City, or even in the Central. Jiang Liqing's words stopped here. The copy in Old Joe's hand had already been squeezed into a ball. He hurriedly said, Chief, I didn't ask about this matter. I have neglected my duty. But from now on, this kind of thing will not happen again. Don't worry, all the big and small newspapers in High City will not have any news tomorrow. Then I'm hanging up. Old Joe, I'll treat you to a drink in a few days. I'll treat. How can Chief treat me? Jiang Liqing smiled. How can that be? Are you looking down on me? Old Joe's anger was rising and falling. He was about to have a heart attack. Chief, you're exaggerating. After a round of formalities, Old Joe heard that Jiang Liqing had hung up. He immediately threw the phone in his hand and smashed the copy on the ground. Go. Connect me to the chief editors of these newspapers. When the call was connected, he started scolding. Do you guys dare to publish any kind of news? How much did you guys receive? Are you planning to quit the media industry? Let me tell you, even if you jump ship, no one will want you. If you start your own company, you won't be able to survive in High City. Do you dare to offend anyone? Do you dare to offend people from the military? Do you dare to offend people from the Red Door? Do you know what the princelings are? Is your brain filled with tofu dregs? Has your brain been shaken clean by a donkey? Money? Losses? Destroy all the losses. Old Joe's voice was deafening, and no one dared to go in to persuade him. Jiang Zhao walked to the bathroom mirror and looked at himself. Qin Fian leaned against the door frame and laughed. Are you going out for a date? No. I am going to the office. Jiang Zhao frowned as he looked at the bruise on the corner of his mouth. He really didn't want to go out with this disfigured face. Although it wasn't a big bruise, anyone with a discerning eye could tell that he was injured. When Qin Fian heard what Jiang Zhao said, he knew that Jiang Zhao was going to his own company. Working for a deputy mayor in the middle of the night was really tiring. Oh, so late at night. Are you going to launder money again? Yes. I am washing pens. Brother, can you share some with me? Qin Fian walked into the bathroom and sat on the sink. Change route number 2. Reselect the route. Jiang Zhao flipped through Qin Fian's products on the sink and found a facial cleanser. He opened the lid and squeezed a bottle of facial cleanser into his palm. He turned on the water and started to make bubbles. Brother, are you serious? Qin Fian suddenly wanted to laugh out loud. Jiang Zhao only wanted to wash his face. He wanted to feel refreshed. After washing his face, he took a few pieces of clean tissue to wipe the water off his face. He took out a bottle of water, opened the lid, and poured some water into his palm. He rubbed the water with his palms and patted the water on his face. He looked at Qin Fian in the mirror and said, "The previous route was rejected. The Geological Research Institute had sent a report over. There is a lot of underground water there, and the ground is too soft. It is impossible to build a subway there. If there is a cave-in or a collapse, there will be a big accident. We will have a meeting next Monday. However, there is no need to vote on this matter. No one dares to agree and sign the papers. Who is willing to take such a big responsibility? Don't go and get the land in 326. If there is no subway there, it is worthless. Qin Fian thought for a while and said, but there is a mole in my company. He spread the news to other companies that there will be a subway passing through 326. Jiang Zhao laughed. Haha, which company? Zhuang Yifeng's company? How do you know? Just let him go and get it. Raise the price and let him buy the land in 326 at a high price. It was Yichen's idea, right? Jiang Zhao looked at himself in the mirror and reached out to press the bruise at the corner of his mouth. He pressed it and wanted to rub it away. He said lightly, my idea was tea. Qin Fian sighed and came down from the stage. He stood beside Jiang Zhao and said with a melancholy expression, brother, your relationship with Yichen is better than with me, but we are biological brothers. Jiang Zhao turned his face and sighed softly as well. He thought about how to tell his brother this. This question really stumped him. After a while, he reached out and patted Qin Fian on the shoulder. Fian, it is because you and I are biological brothers that there are many things that I would rather ask others to do than ask you to do it. I can make use of others, but I can't make use of you. Yichen and I have been friends for so many years. We can be considered brothers. But between him and me, whether he makes use of me or I make use of him, we both have a clear conscience. But Fian, if you want me to make use of you with a clear conscience, to make use of anyone who is related to me by blood, I can't do it. Welfare Xinwu 799. Chapter 528. Qin Fian originally had a joking expression, but after hearing Jiang Zhao's words he suddenly fell silent. What was he thinking just now? He wondered if his brother was doing it for others and not for himself. He thought that his brother was so ambitious that he disdained to cooperate with his family. But he never thought that there were some things that he did not see. Everyone in the Qin family knew that Jiang Zhao's rapid promotion was due to his family's influence. Another important reason was that Jiang Zhao had found a very valuable ally. This ally was Zhuang Yichen. In fact, it was dangerous to be Jiang Zhao's ally. On the other hand, it was also dangerous to be Zhuang Yichen's ally. The two of them restrained each other, advancing and retreating together. Their tacit understanding surpassed the trust between ordinary brothers. This was Qin Fian's understanding in the past. Now that he understood it, it was like being slapped in the face. Qin Fian felt a little ashamed. Brother, don't blame me. I was just a little jealous at first. Ha, let me tell you. My heart is filled with only your sister-in-law. Even if you are jealous, I won't be touched. I've already said that I'm not interested in sex. Ha! Jiang Zhao tidied up his appearance and left Fian's residence. He got into his car and turned on the car phone. The ringtone echoed in the car. It was an old song by Kai Qin. Jiang Zhao smiled. It was really old-fashioned. It had not been changed for so many years. The phone was picked up. The woman's voice was not very pleasant, but there was a hint of sophistication in it. Boss, the preparations are almost done. We're waiting for you to come over for the meeting. I'll probably arrive at the company in about 20 minutes. You can also sort out the information of the Min Group's business for the past few years and give it to me. I've already asked Yang Fan to sort it out in the afternoon. Quickly come up with the overall report. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Jiang Zhao called Yi Er. How was the meal? It's pretty good. They said that we're going to watch a movie later. Mom has already booked the whole place. Yes, Mom is a young girl. She likes to hug a bucket of popcorn when she watches movies. Buy her a big bucket of popcorn and a can of cola. The popcorn must be orange and creamy. Understood. Listening to Yi Er's cheerful voice, Jiang Zhao felt very satisfied. A man should live such a life. No matter how busy or tired he was, it was good to be able to hear his wife and child's laughter. Yes, he still lacked a child. But she was still young and had said that she wanted to go to school. He was afraid that this plan would have to be postponed. Jiang Zhao's car arrived at the Qinzhen building, an office building named after Qinzhen. Nominally, they were all Qinzhen's businesses, and all the companies in them were legal persons of Qinzhen. They were involved in many industries. Jiang Zhao's company was just downstairs of Golden Investment. When Jiang Zhao was born, he lacked metal in his 5 elements and was born prematurely. Jiang Liqing was afraid that the child would not be easy to take care of, so when he named him, he added the word golden and a sharp knife beside it. He hoped that in the future, his character would not be weak because of being born prematurely. When Qinzhen gave birth to her second son, she also lacked metal in her 5 elements. Her second son's name also had the word golden beside it. The golden word investment was also a form of consolation for the fate of his 2 sons. The double Z logo was Jiang Zhao's company logo. Every time Jiang Zhao saw this logo, he could not help but want to laugh. Some people said that the father was the daughter's virginity in her previous life. In fact, the mother was also the son's virginity in his previous life. His mother said that one Z was Zhao, and the other Z was Zhen, so he had to use this. This was called the mother and son working together. Their sharpness could cut through metal. What was all this about? Therefore, it was not fake to say that she was a young girl. It was already 8:30 at night. It did not seem too late, but from the afternoon until now, Jiang Zhao felt that every minute was like a year. The legal person of the company was Qinzhen, but if Qinzhen came to the meeting materials were all prepared by Jiang Zhao. Qinzhen said that she would not interfere with her son's business. If she could help, she would do her best. The only thing she could help Jiang Zhao was to open this company in her name. Jiang Zhao could not do business without scruples like other bosses. He rarely came to the meeting. There were only 3 people who came to the meeting: him, Guqin, and Yang Fan. The meeting of the 3 of them was in Qinzhen's office. Today Jiang Zhao was sitting in Qinzhen's seat. A man and a woman were sitting in front of the large office desk. Guqin was a cold and business-minded woman. Yang Fan was a passionate and aggressive man. The 3 of them were all classmates and had always had a good relationship. Others said that people who were too familiar with each other could not do things together. There would be no rules, and it would be difficult to set rules. But with Guqin in the picture, everything became simple. As long as Guqin agreed to everything Jiang Zhao said, she would strictly implement it. Even if she had committed a crime, she would take the initiative to ask for punishment. When a company used rules to manage people, the boss would have a lot less to worry about. The 2 of them did not react when they saw the wound at the corner of Jiang Zhao's mouth. The main reason was not that they did not want to react, but because they saw that Jiang Zhao's expression was so dark before they reacted. If they reacted, wouldn't they be courting death? Boss, you want a general report of the Min Group for the past few years. Take a look first. If you want to see the details, I'll give you a copy. Guqin handed the information in front of her to Jiang Zhao. She wore glasses. She worked too hard when she was studying, so she was nearsighted. Later on, she could not take them off. Jiang Zhao looked at the rows of numbers and slowly watched the changes in the numbers. It looks quite clean. Yes, Family Min's business is relatively stable. They are not involved in the high-tech industry. So from the accounts, there isn't much of a problem. They are not involved in the high-tech industry. It's better to say that they are behind the times. Yang Fan actually had a hunch when he received Jiang Zhao's call this afternoon. Family Min did not have any competition with their company. However, other companies could not compete even if they wanted to. At most, they could get some scraps. Most of the projects they took were government projects, so they were rich and had a lot of money. Jiang Zhao's wife was Min Zikai's ex-fiancée. Without thinking, he could roughly guess. Guqin was the person who did not like to beat around the bush in this kind of meeting. It was rare to have a meeting, so she should say the important things. Boss, our company is doing 7 or 8 things now, but none of them are related to trade. If we really want to compete with Family Min, I'm afraid we will have to start a new business. Jiang Zhao looked at the report and answered Guqin. No need. Remember I asked you to register a construction material company last time to make it easier to transfer the accounts. Tomorrow you can ask someone to talk to Family Min about how to ship the tiles to Canada. The unit price of the tiles must be high, and the insurance price must also be high. The quantity must be large. You can calculate if something happens to this batch of goods, how much will he have to pay? Boss, is that all? Young Fan frowned. This was not like Jiang Zhao's style. Pay some money? If there was really a conflict, just pay some money and it would be over? I have a lot of things to do recently, so I don't have time to come over. Jiang Zhao thought for a while. So next, if you are free, find someone who is hard to track and register a shell company. Then, talk to Family Min about the goods. You should know how to make it look real. Family Min wants to earn money even if they lose money. Hang Min Zikai and let him smuggle. Smuggle. Smuggle? Young Fan and Gu Qin asked at the same time. Boss, you are the deputy mayor, and you want to frame Min Zikai after extorting money? What did Min Zikai do? Did he really get into trouble because he snatched Feng Yu's wife? Yes. Jiang Zhao replied calmly. Smuggle. Jiang Zhao repeated and did not forget to add another sentence. It's just like how you all smuggled goods in the past. But you must increase his share of goods. Don't let him get caught so easily like you all. Yang Fan and Gu Qin looked at each other, and the corners of their mouths twitched. They then looked at Jiang Zhao and cursed in their hearts. Boss, are you going to hold on to our weakness and never let go? Also, we were not caught so easily in the past. If not, why would we sell ourselves to you as slaves? Also, we are willing to do so. Looking at their expressions, Jiang Zhao's lips curled into a smile, as if his scheme had succeeded. Smuggle? He felt that it was a light punishment. For the time being, he would think of this. Perhaps when he woke up, he would discover that there was a better way. In that case, he would still have to try. Those who dared to threaten him, and more importantly, those who dared to covet his wife, deserved a punishment that he would never forget. Jiang Zhao, Yang Fan and Gu Qin had a meeting until 1 o'clock in the morning. Jiang Zhao was quite satisfied with the data of the quarterly report. Seeing Jiang Zhao nod, Yang Fan said, Boss, should we relax the quarterly bonus and holidays? Jiang Zhao's lips curled into a smile. Even his sparkling eyes were overflowing with a meaningful smile. Of course. An inch of time is worth an inch of gold. An inch of gold can't buy an inch of time, right? Yang Fan's shoulders drooped in defeat. Wasn't this implying that they should have stayed in prison for the rest of their lives? But now they were enjoying freedom outside, which was more valuable than anything else. Gu Qin glanced at Yang Fan and said disdainfully, useless. Jiang Zhao drove away from Qingjin building. He had already told Yi Er that he would go home to sleep that night. Now that he thought about it, at this time, he was so tired that he could only go home and sleep. He was not in the mood to do those naked things that he had originally planned. On the way home, Jiang Zhao tried to be as gentle as possible. If it was just him and Yi Er, it would be better. Now that they were living together as a family, he was afraid that he would disturb the elderly's rest. When he entered the house, he specially installed a floor lamp that only shone around the shoe cabinet. It was not too bright, but it was not so bright that he could not see the shoes. Hearing some noise in the living room, he guessed that someone had probably forgotten to turn off the TV. He changed his shoes and prepared to go upstairs to take a shower. When he walked through the living room, he saw that the midnight Korean drama was still playing on the TV. The volume was very low, and the person watching the TV had fallen asleep with her back facing the TV. She was covered with a thin blanket, and some of her long curly hair fell over the sofa. At this time, he could not tell that she had dyed her hair. He walked over, squatted down, and scooped up a handful of the woman's hair. He rubbed it in his hands and sniffed it. It was very fragrant. She had added some essential oils to the shower gel at home. It was not too strong, but the fragrance was very long-lasting. It was the kind that went straight into the pores. Yi Er felt a little uncomfortable with her hair being pulled. She reached out and hit Jiang Zhao's hand. Annoying. Jiang Zhao smiled. Be good. Go upstairs and sleep. Stop fooling around. Yi Er slapped her again. Awesome novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 529. Jiang Zhao recalled the time when she had tried to bribe him with a thermos. She had also fallen asleep at the door. He had scared her and almost got slapped by her. She still had the cheek to say that she was docile. He scooped her up and carried her. Jiang Zhao was actually very careful, afraid that he would wake her up. However, Yi Er still woke up. Thinking that Yi Er was already awake, he didn't want to hug her anymore. He wanted to put Yi Er down, but Yi Er was hanging on the man's neck. She suddenly retracted her leg that was about to be put down by the man. With a bit of strength, she hung on the man's body like a koala bear and refused to come down. Jiang Zhao did not hug Yi Er and let her hang on him. He reached out his leg to switch on the TV by the stairs and the lights in the corridor. The TV slowly turned off. The lights in the corridor lit up. Afraid of disturbing the rest of the family, he said softly, "Come down and walk by yourself." "No, hubby, carry me," Yi Er said shamelessly. "You're not a child. Why do you want to carry me?" "I don't care. You were the one who carried me first. You have to take responsibility. You can't just carry me whenever you want. If you want to carry me, you have to carry me all the way back to my room." "Oh, you're still being reasonable. Who allowed you to sleep downstairs? Didn't I wait for you to open the door?" "Humph." Yi Er felt wronged. Jiang Zhao's heart softened and warmed. He hugged the woman's butt and walked upstairs. "Your little mouth is pouting like a chicken's butt." Yi Er played with her head in enjoyment. "Chicken butt is delicious. Then I'll eat it," Jiang Zhao said and started. He nibbled and licked, eating as he walked. Yi Er admired this man. He could walk so steadily and did not even sway. The man said, "Who told you to wait for the door so late? Don't you know that Shi Xiangxiang is waiting for your hubby in bed?" Yi Er nibbled and nibbled again. "You have no conscience. I was worried that you would lose your balance and fall asleep on the floor. What if you catch a cold? Oh, you care so much about your husband." Jiang Zhao felt that this woman's mouth was really sweet. Regardless of whether it was fake or not, it was comfortable to listen to. Her words were sweet, and it was also sweet to eat. Yi Er covered her mouth and said, "Look at how you're smacking your lips. You're so vulgar." "I also want to be a gentleman, but. Jiang Zhao sighed. In the car, he had said that he didn't want to think about those romantic things. In the end, he hadn't even taken a shower, and he had only kissed her a few times. His body's reaction was too fast. Hugging his wife with one hand, he pushed open the door with the other. After entering, he gently closed the door with his foot to prevent it from making too much noise. "But honey, people say that even if you die under a peony, you will still be a romantic ghost. I want to be a romantic, not a gentleman." "I smell so good. Aren't you letting me down?" Yi Er indicated that Jiang Zhao hadn't showered yet. "I'll go shower later." Yi Er was surprised that men would do whatever they wanted to do. At this time, men would definitely use condoms. Occasionally, they would forget to use them. Yi Er would also take medicine after the deed. She was still young, and if men really wanted children, they would definitely not use condoms all the time. She didn't want to be despised when she was pregnant. People said that when a woman was pregnant, men were most likely to cheat. Their relationship was still unstable, so she couldn't give him that chance. "Softer, softer, I'm very gentle, honey. If I were any softer, I would suffocate to death." When Yi Er was asleep, she kept dreaming. Perhaps it was because she was frightened during the day, but the dreams were all about ghosts and monsters. She saw Ouyingyan holding Jiang Zhao's arm as they walked towards her step by step. When the two of them looked at each other and smiled, they were so happy that it was as if they were soaking in a jar of honey. Yi Er looked left and right. She had to find a big broom, no, a big mop. Ouyingyan, this damned woman. Were all the men in the world dead? She had her eyes on her husband? She was so anxious that she stomped her feet on the spot. Then she searched everywhere. She couldn't find anything that could be used as a weapon. She was so anxious that she cried. It was empty all around. It was like a high-end underground tunnel with smooth walls. There was nothing. No, there was still a fire hydrant. Yi Er felt that she should take the fire hydrant down and spray the woman with foam. Or she could just take the red bottle and smash it at the woman. She would be disfigured so badly that it couldn't be fixed. Why was she so good-looking? Good-looking women were all scourges. Was it so great to be good-looking? Was it so great to be gentle? She wanted to see if anyone would still like her after she was disfigured. The fire hydrant was still in the glass cabinet on the wall. She didn't know how to open it. Everything seemed wrong. Why couldn't she open the cabinet? She turned around and saw that Ouyang had already walked past her with Jiang Zhao. She shouted, "Hubby!" Jiang Zhao walked past as if he didn't hear her. "Hubby, hubby!" She chased after them. However, they seemed to be slower than her. No matter how fast she was, they were faster than her. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't catch up. She was so anxious that she cried and shouted, "Hubby! Hubby!" until she saw Ouyang turn around and give her a victorious smile. Then she stood on her tiptoes and kissed Jiang Zhao on the cheek. Then, Jiang Zhao reached out and rubbed Ouyang head lovingly. Yi was even more anxious. He clearly only liked to rub her head as if she was a pet. How could he let Ouyang kiss him in front of her, and even be so intimate with Ouyang? The blanket on Jiang Zhao's body was kicked off the bed by Yi. Although it was a room with a constant temperature, a thin blanket was a must during this season. Just as he was about to slap the woman, he heard her whimpering. It was as if something was blocking her throat as she cried, but couldn't make a sound. Yi felt like she was dreaming. It was a very strong premonition. The more she thought about it, the more she felt like she was dreaming. However, she couldn't differentiate between dream and reality. She wanted to break free from the dream, but she couldn't get rid of the entanglement. She was so anxious that she wanted to slap herself, but it seemed like her hands and feet were tied. Jiang Zhao grabbed Yi's hand and shook it. As he shook it, he realized that this woman was a pervert. She grabbed his hand and kissed him everywhere with her eyes closed. It was as if she didn't care about her life. It was as if someone was snatching her hand to hook it around his neck. She didn't care where she could hook it. It wasn't enough to hook it around his neck. She even kissed him. She even pulled his clothes off as she kissed him. Yi finally caught Jiang Zhao in her dream. How could she let go of such an opportunity? Ouyang dared to kiss her husband in front of her. She wanted to show off their affection, even more intimately in front of Ouyang. Jiang Zhao didn't seem to care about her. Ignore her? How could that do? If the soft approach didn't work, she would use the hard approach. She didn't believe that she couldn't make him give in. She would kiss him wherever she caught him. Ouyang held his arm, right? Okay, she had to bite his entire arm. She had to kiss the places she hadn't kissed before. She wanted to see who wouldn't be embarrassed. She was Jiang Zhao's official wife. Ouyang was just a mistress. Would she dare to come out and challenge her? Who was afraid of who? Yi went all out to snatch her husband from the woman in her dream. The boss of the reality board was about to go crazy from her passionate actions. Jiang Zhao thought that he had a lot of personal matters to deal with recently. He couldn't possibly sleep in on Sundays. Great, now he couldn't even conserve his energy. Since his wife didn't give him a chance, her husband could only comply. Yi was woken up by a familiar feeling of collapsing. She opened her eyes and saw the figure on top of her. She was dumbfounded. What are you looking at? Jiang Zhao looked at Yi's eyes that were filled with shock. He was a little embarrassed. But he had already done it. What else did she want? So he glared at her and said, "You forced me." Yi quickly shook her head. She was sleepwalking. Suddenly she screamed, "Ah, hubby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." The next day, Yi and Jiang Zhao had a battle in their room. This battle made Jiang Zhao come to a decision. It was hard to guard against thieves day and night. In the future, when he went to sleep, he had to lock his room from the inside. Sijie entered Jiang Zhao in Yi's room. Jiang Zhao and Yi were too tired from working in bed last night. They didn't sleep well. They hugged each other tightly and didn't feel uncomfortable. Jiang Zhao was a sensitive person, especially when it came to such a private place like the bed. His wife was still in his arms, so he immediately felt that someone had climbed onto the bed. He propped himself up and found that Sijie had already climbed onto Yi's side. Jiang Zhao was naked now, and so was Yi. He was furious. What was this rascal trying to do? What was he trying to do? He lifted the blanket and muttered, "I still like sleeping with my sister. I'm not used to sleeping alone." Sijie. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er was probably too tired and didn't react at all. He lowered his voice and called Sijia. Sijia looked at Jiang Zhao. Seeing that he wasn't wearing anything, he gave him a look of disdain. Don't you know that you should wear pajamas when you sleep? My sister said that you should wear pajamas when you sleep. Jiang Zhao immediately wrapped the blanket tightly around Yi Er. He was afraid that his wife would be exposed. He couldn't do it in front of his biological younger brother. He couldn't do it in front of his own younger brother. Sijie, don't you know that you have to knock before entering someone's room? I never knock before entering my sister's room. My sister isn't an outsider. Sijie paused and smiled. Could it be that brother-in-law is an outsider? Jiang Zhao wondered if his brother-in-law was some kind of monster with a childlike face, similar to the children of Tianshan Mountain. He poked people with his speech, beating them one by one with a dull stick. Sijie, you're still young. You don't know about the matters between men and women, right? What do you mean I don't know? I know. Brother-in-law and your sister are still resting and haven't woken up yet. It's actually a matter between men and women. Do you know that? I don't know. Because my sister used to sleep with me. Jiang Zhao cursed in his heart. Your sister, this is my wife. You're already so tall. You're already 10 years old. And you still want to sleep with my wife? What are you thinking? When I was 10 years old, I started to cheat my brother of the money he won from gambling. You're 10 years old, and you still want to pretend to be pure? Add. Hongcha 866. Chapter 530. However, Jiang Zhao felt that he couldn't say that. After all, he was his wife's brother, and he was so arrogant that he couldn't provoke him. Sijie, it's like when you get married in the future, you can't let other men in your bed. Tell me, when you get married in the future, can you let other men in your bed? Sijie naturally knew that he couldn't say yes. He was actually provoked by this old man. Before he could think of how to retort, Jiang Zhao said again. Are you not a man? I thought you were a man. So you're still a boy? After saying that, he revealed a look of disbelief, contempt, and some sympathy. Sijie had a strong self-esteem. At this time, who said that he wasn't a man? He couldn't stand it. I have something to do. I'm going to find Dad. Jiang Zhao watched Sijie leave the room, and heard the sound of footsteps going downstairs. He quickly grabbed the bathrobe thrown on the stool at the end of the bed, put it on, and got out of bed. He rushed to the door, closed it, and locked it. Sijie had just arrived downstairs when he was caught by Yin Hongwei. Sijie, what are you doing upstairs? Oh, I want to wake sister, brother-in-law up. Sijie was a little hesitant. Yin Hongwei knew that Sijie relied on Yi Er for nearly 2 years. From yesterday's private conversation, he could tell that Sijie always had some opinions about this brother-in-law. And these opinions were not that this brother-in-law was not good to his sister, but that this brother-in-law always used all kinds of excuses to occupy his and his sister's time and space. However, Yi Er must have his own private life. When he found Sijie upstairs just now, he originally wanted to drag him down, but who knew that he would come down himself? Sijie, brother-in-law, usually works very hard, and he has to entertain clients until very late at night. So it's rare for him to have a day off, so don't disturb him and let him sleep a little more. Let's go out for breakfast and bring some back for them later. I'm not going. Dad, go and wake sister up. Let her go with us. Brother-in-law works late, but sister doesn't. Sister can wake up early and go with us. Sijie said as he wanted to run upstairs. Yin Hongwei grabbed Sijie and dragged him to the door. No, you have to go out with me for breakfast right now. Jiang Zhao's early morning dreams were all messed up by Sijie. Even though nothing unpleasant happened, he still felt as if there was a shadow cast over him. Just as he was about to go back to sleep, he felt the door open again. Someone had climbed onto his and Yi Er's bed again. After falling asleep for a while, he had an erotic dream. In the dream, he was having sex with Yi Er. In the end, someone pushed the door open, and his wife was naked on the bed. Jiang Zhao really didn't want to think about it anymore, so he simply got out of bed. He basically didn't need to care about Min Zikai's matters anymore. He didn't need to care about the unorthodox smuggling. His 2 classmates were familiar with it, so they knew the ropes. When the time came, he would just use his power and resources to take advantage of the situation. He felt that there wasn't any sense of accomplishment in doing this, and that it was too easy. However, if he made it too complicated, he felt that it would be a waste to spend too much effort on a small character like Min Zikai. There were plenty of young masters from wealthy families in Haicheng. There weren't many rare ones. He didn't know where his premonition came from, but he felt that the most dangerous person was still in the hospital he stayed in yesterday. When Jiang Zhao got out of bed, washed up, and went downstairs, Yin Hongwei had already bought breakfast and brought Si Jie back. Looking at the soy milk, fried dough sticks, and buns, Jiang Zhao didn't have much of an appetite. Yi Er was too tired yesterday, so she didn't make breakfast today. Actually, after they got married, Yi Er would make some porridge, boiled 2 eggs, and mix with some shredded kelp for breakfast. She also had small wontons in the fridge. Otherwise, she would fry some single-sided eggs, make a few slices of bread, and squeeze some juice. As long as it wasn't something that was ready to be eaten, Yi Er would finish cooking and go back to sleep. He got out of bed and threw the bowl away after eating. Yi Er would wash the bowl after getting out of bed. Therefore, although they hadn't been married for long, he always felt that Yi Er was very sensible. Other than being a little crafty, she was good at everything else. Looking at the pile of fried dough sticks and buns, Jiang Zhao didn't have any appetite at all. He couldn't blame his father-in-law. There wasn't anyone at home who specialized in cooking breakfast, so he couldn't be calculative. He said thanks and sat down to eat. After drinking a mouthful of soy milk, Yi Er went downstairs. Seeing Jiang Zhao eating, she ran over and took the food away, grumbling. "Why did you buy these to eat? It's okay if you eat them, but Si Jie is still growing. The oil on the outside isn't clean. Can you eat these fried dough sticks? Soy milk is water. Don't you have a soy milk machine at home if you want to drink it? Why didn't you call me if you were too lazy to make it? The meat in the buns isn't good. Si Jie will have diarrhea if he eats them." Seriously. Yi Er was clearly concerned about Jiang Zhao. This made Jiang Zhao's heart feel stifled. What was it? It was okay if he ate them? So it was okay if Si Jie ate them? She slept with him every day for so long. Was he not as important as his brother-in-law? Brother-in-law was the one who was precious. Brother-in-law was the amazing one. Brother-in-law was the little emperor. "I'm not eating anymore." Jiang Zhao threw the food in his hands on the table and went upstairs to change. Yin Hongwei quickly said, "Yi Er, why are you blaming Jiang Zhao? Si Jie and I went to buy them. I couldn't get these things, so I thought it would be better to buy some ready-made ones. Why are you so particular? You even scolded him. It was the wedding night." Oh, Yi Er knew that she had angered the old master. "Dad, wait a moment. I'll make some breakfast again." She quickly went to the kitchen as she spoke. Jiang Zhao changed his clothes angrily. From time to time, he would glance at the door. This woman was getting bolder. She had angered him, but she didn't chase after him to ask, persuade him, or apologize. She was still in the right. After waiting for half a day, she still didn't come. She wasn't coming back for lunch. When Jiang Zhao went downstairs, Yi Er had just finished preparing breakfast. She didn't have time to make bread, so she cooked a pot of wontons and fried an egg for everyone. She placed it on the table. Jiang Zhao didn't eat breakfast. He wanted to eat the wontons when he saw them. Yi Er's wontons were always better than the ones outside. The first time he ate them, he felt that his brother-in-law was really lucky. Yi Er would always search for new things online to make so that Si Jie could eat more. Everything was delicious. The shrimp stuffing had also been seasoned. The egg white had been pinched, so it was very smooth and fresh. He walked slowly, waiting for Yi Er to call him to eat together. However, when he was almost at the door, the woman still hadn't called him for breakfast. Was she trying to rebel? Just as he was about to turn around and question her, Yi Er ran over. "What are you doing? I cooked so many wontons. It's a pity that you didn't eat them and threw them away. Let me tell you, I spent a long time peeling the shrimp stuffing after buying them. I won't throw them away. If you dare to leave without eating breakfast, I'll leave them there for you. Even if you come back after midnight, you have to eat them." When Jiang Zhao heard this, he felt that it was exactly what he wanted. However, he also wanted to save face, right? What did you say? You actually want me to eat leftovers? Yi Er snorted. It was yours to begin with. If you dare to leave any leftovers, I dare to let you eat them. I don't want to eat leftovers. Besides, if I leave the wontons for supper, what will they look like? How can I eat them? Jiang Zhao said very confidently. So go and eat them now. Yi Er snatched the briefcase from Jiang Zhao's hands and turned to leave. Jiang Zhao took off his half-worn shoes and muttered, I've never seen a woman like you who can force people to eat breakfast. He changed back into his slippers and returned to the dining room. He thought to himself that his father-in-law probably didn't hear what he said. He only said that when he saw that there was no one in the dining room. Yi Er divided the wontons into bowls and placed eggs on a small plate for each of them. She set the plate and called out, Dad, Sijia, breakfast is ready. Come and eat. Dad, I told you not to go out for breakfast. Sister's cooking is very good. The family sat around the dining table and enjoyed breakfast. Yes, it's very good. It's better than the seafood wontons outside. When Yin Hongwei ate, he only took small bites. It tasted very good, but he felt a little sad. His daughter never knew how to cook breakfast in the past. There were specialized servants in the kitchen at home. Dad, sister also knows how to cook a lot of delicious food. She cooks better than restaurants. That's why I hate going to boarding school. I can only eat sister's cooking 2 days a week. Sijia was actually a very smart child. He knew what happened at home. He also knew the changes at home. Even though he sometimes complained about Jiang Zhao snatching his sister away, he could still feel some of Jiang Zhao's special abilities. Although he didn't know much about it, he could more or less feel some of it. At this time, there were some hidden meanings in his words. In any case, Yi Er understood. No one said anything. Yin Hongwei couldn't make any requests to Jiang Zhao. He felt that it was good for Sijia to go to boarding school. After all, no one was free now. Picking him up and dropping him off was a troublesome matter. Jiang Zhao pretended not to understand. He only brought him back once a week, and he wanted to crawl into his wife's bed. If he stayed at home every day, wouldn't it be terrible? He couldn't wait for his brother-in-law to graduate from university tomorrow and start working. Then he would move out of the house. Dad, Sijia isn't joking. Yi Er's cooking is really good. Now I have to work out for a quarter longer, because I eat too much. After Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he continued to eat his wontons and drank 2 mouthfuls of soup. Sijia looked at Jiang Zhao in disappointment. He used his eyes to tell Jiang Zhao that this wasn't the main point. This wasn't the main point. The main point wasn't whether the food was good or not. It was the problem of boarding school. Haha, Yi Er actually has talent in this area. I really didn't expect his cooking skills to be so good. Yin Hongwei smoothly changed the topic. Jiang Zhao had just come out of the house and went downstairs when he received a call from his father, Jiang Liqing. He was scolding him over the phone. Good on you, Jiang Zhao. You are looking down on me more and more. Jiang Zhao's heart skipped a beat. His intuition told him that yesterday's incident had been exposed. But with his father's character, he definitely wouldn't ask about the contents of the photos. Could it be that the other party had said it? No one would be so stupid, right? If there was going to be thunder this time, then he could only accept it. Jiang Zhao walked to an empty space to prevent anyone from overhearing his phone call. He called out, Dad. Jiang Liqing had a belly full of anger, but he couldn't find anyone to vent it on. Jiang Zhao, this rascal, was doing this on purpose. How dare you do what you did last night? Bastard. Jiang Zhao took a deep breath and said, Dad, it's my fault. You know it's your fault? How could you do such a thing? Jiang Liqing roared into the phone. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 531. Dad, calm down. Jiang Zhao exhaled. He had thought that he would be exposed, but he didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Why should I calm down? You don't treat me as your dad at all. You asked your mom to have dinner with the in-laws. You should have arranged for me to have dinner with the in-laws. I'm the head of the family. Jiang Zhao's heartstrings suddenly relaxed. Oh my God! He was so scared that he was about to have a heart attack. His father's thoughts should have been easy to guess, but he was confused at this time. It was too exciting. He thought that he had been exposed. Dad, this is my fault. You know Mom's temper. I was willing to arrange it for you, but Dad, I really couldn't persuade Mom. Jiang Liqing snorted. Sophistry. Jiang Zhao knew very well that no one in the family had taken the initiative to have dinner with his father-in-law. His father only said this because his mother had gone to the dinner yesterday. His mother had gone on behalf of the groom's parents. He wanted to go with his mother, but he didn't say it directly. Instead, he scolded him. He really didn't have the attitude of a beggar. However, Jiang Zhao didn't dare to provoke Jiang Liqing at this time. Seeing that his father had helped him a lot last night, he didn't care about a certain person's bad temper. Dad, I actually wanted to arrange a dinner party tonight. It just so happens that Si Jie is on holiday, and my father-in-law is at home. Yi Er is also free, and I'm also resting. Let's have a family gathering. Jiang Liqing hesitated. Jiang Zhao said, Tonight, I'll purposely tell Mom that I'll be a few minutes late. You arrive first and choose a seat first. How about that? Jiang Liqing seemed to have gained a huge advantage. Okay, let me know when you've decided on a place. Okay. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and said to himself, Brother Liqing is so pretentious. He clearly wants to hear if Sister Zhen is going. Jiang Zhao had just booked a table at the restaurant when Qin Fian called to urge him. Brother, do you want to know how awe-inspiring Uncle was last night? I have some gossip. Rumors are definitely not as exciting as the real Brother Liqing. With that look of his, I don't even need to say anything to know how he scares people. Jiang Zhao had already walked to his car. He took the keys and unlocked the car. By the way, let's have dinner together tonight. If you leave the Qin family's house, you can pick Grandpa up. If you don't, I'll pick you up. Grandpa has a driver. It's different. Today is a family banquet. Qin Fian smiled helplessly. I understand. As a junior, I should act like one, right? What Grandpa cared about the most was vanity. He wanted all the wealthy families in Haiqing to see how filial his children and grandchildren were. Even when they knew that he had a chauffeur, they still went to pick him up personally, right? Haha. Jiang Zhao got into the car and started it. Don't talk nonsense, or I'll tell on you. Jiang Zhao had an appointment with Zhuang Yichen. Qintong's photos were in Zhuang Yichen's hands, so he basically couldn't touch them. In addition, Zhuang Yichen had Jiang Zhao behind him, whom Qintong didn't know about. How could he win? Zhuang Yichen's mood wasn't quite right today. Jiang Zhao noticed that he was always in a daze. In his mind, Zhuang Yichen would never be like this. Yichen, what's the matter? Zhuang Yichen lit a cigarette and took a puff. Nothing. After a few puffs, he finished the cigarette and put it in the ashtray. Brother Zhao, regarding Qintong's matter, you don't have to worry about me not making progress. I said that I'll help you clear these obstacles, so I'll help you clear them. When the time comes, just don't forget about my benefits. Of course. Jiang Zhao also felt that he had been a little anxious these past 2 days. Alright then. I'll be busy during this period of time, so I won't look for you. After Jiang Zhao left, Zhuang Yichen lit another cigarette and slowly paced around Zhaojun's private room. In this private room, even if he closed his eyes and walked around randomly, he wouldn't touch anything. Perhaps it was because he was familiar with it, or because he had a strong sense of danger, so when he was about to touch danger, he would be on high alert. He closed his eyes and raised his head. He seemed to like wearing black. Although there were some thin silver threads on the black material today, the main body of his clothes was heavy. At this moment, his calm face looked more like the Black Sea, as if there were terrifying waves about to roll up under it. After a while, someone knocked on the door of the private room. Come in, he shouted. A man with a scar on his nose walked in and greeted respectfully, Boss. Zhuang Yichen looked at the man with the scar on his nose. He was about to speak, but he stopped. He still needed to think about this problem. The man with the scar on his nose looked at Zhuang Yichen and didn't dare to ask more. He just stood there and waited until Zhuang Yichen walked in front of him. He began to coldly order. Go and investigate the past between the young master of the Kong family, Kong Yun, and Qiu Xiaoya. When they met, when they separated, and why they separated. I want to know everything clearly." The man with the scar on his nose was shocked, but he agreed readily. "I'll do it right away." "You can leave." After the man with the scar on his nose left the private room, Zhuang Yichen called Qiu Xiaoya. "Have dinner with me tonight." "I don't have time," my sister said. "I'll tell you where to eat later. Remember to wear a red dress." Then he hung up the phone. She dared to be so unruly, because he gave in to her too much. He wanted to see how arrogant she could be. Zhuang Yichen was the same as Jiang Zhao. They were both male chauvinistic. When everything was going smoothly, they would pretend to be magnanimous and show their so-called respectable gentlemanly demeanor, to deceive the world. However, when there were obstacles that affected their pace or mood, they would reveal the most domineering side of their nature. They would boldly and decisively flatten all obstacles, including women's tempers. The Qin family booked a super luxurious private room in Highway restaurant that night. The private room was large and luxurious, like a well-decorated European-style palace. The reception desk and the guest lounge were far away. The guests were still chatting. The waiters placed tea, fruits, and other snacks on the table, and stood at the reception desk, waiting for the guests' orders. When Yi Er met Xia Qian here, she was too surprised, so she went to the reception desk to chat with her. When Xia Qian saw Yi Er, it was as if she saw money. She intimately approached her. Yi Er, it's hard for me to work the night shift on Sundays. Your family is rich, and you're now the wife of a rich family. Order the more expensive dishes." Xia Qian was a little abnormal because of Shen Kai that day. Whenever someone ordered a dish and asked a few questions, her intuition told her that they wanted to order egg fried rice. Yi Er smiled mischievously. She whispered to Xia Qian, Qian, I came with my parents-in-law today. If I don't know my limits, they will think that I'm not a good daughter-in-law who knows how to manage the family. Will you compensate for the loss? But if you don't order the more expensive dishes, you won't be able to show your family's ability. Your parents-in-law will also be angry. Xia Qian made up a story. Oh, this problem sounds very serious. Yi Er looked at Xia Qian's work uniform and wanted to laugh. When she was at Peerless Beauty, she also hoped that the guests would order more alcohol so that the commission for the drinks would be higher. She didn't expect Xia Qian to be even more despicable. She caught someone she knew and even ordered the more expensive dishes. They said that they would only choose the right dishes and not the expensive ones. I still have to order according to everyone's preferences. Xia Qian said, expensive. Good dishes are expensive. Good dishes are right. That's why I said that the right dishes are expensive. If you choose the expensive ones, then it must be the right ones. Qian, you studied broadcasting. I can't win against you, but I can definitely win against you if I'm unreasonable. Believe it or not, if you do this again, I'll order a plate of egg fried rice for everyone. Xia Qian was stunned. Yunyi, if you do such a wicked thing, I'll break off our friendship. Yi Er took a deep breath. I beg you to break off our friendship. The private room was very big. The two of them were at the service desk in the private room, so no one else could hear them. Qin Fian slowly walked over and pushed up his glasses. Sister-in-law, have you ordered the dishes? Is it because the service staff is not good enough and the dishes are too difficult? It was impossible for Xia Qian to say that she didn't know Qin Fian. There were 4 handsome men in Haicheng: Jiang Zhao, Zhuang Yichen, Qin Fian, and Zhua Hao. Someone once did an investigation, and the result was, she wanted to marry Jiang Zhao. Not only was he good-looking, he had never been involved in any scandals. He was also very approachable. Marrying such a man was not only pleasing to the eye, but also reassuring. She wanted to look for Zhuang Yichen. He was rich and mysterious. If he smiled, he could make millions of girls in Haicheng daydream. She wanted to look for Qin Fian. He was too handsome, but unfortunately he was gay. Many people were overjoyed when they found out that Qin Fian was not gay. Zhua Hao was a bronze-skinned handsome military man. He gave people a sense of security, but people said that Zhua Hao was hard to sleep with. He was probably harder to sleep with than Qin Fian. That person was very old-fashioned. But Xia Qian was like other women. Even when she saw Qin Fian's handsome face, she only felt pity. Anyway, such a handsome man would not be her boyfriend. So she didn't need to be too polite. Yi Er said that the egg fried rice was annoying enough. Now there was another person who said that she was not polite enough. Maybe it was because there were people she knew in this house. Her good friend's husband was the mayor. What was she afraid of? At this moment, Xia Qian had forgotten some of the rules of the service industry. So she bowed to Qin Fian. This beauty, what do you like? Let me introduce some dishes to you. Yi Er secretly took a look at Qin Fian. It's over. It's hard to pretend to be a gentleman anymore. Jiang Zhao saw that the situation was not right and also walked over. Qin Fian's phoenix eyes were very beautiful. His eyes were obviously charming, but at this moment they were like knives. Yi Er felt that he could not leave Xia Qian alone. Oh Fian, let me introduce you. This is a friend of mine. Her name is Xia Qian. She is a student of the media college. She works here to earn some money for her school fees. Then he turned to Xia Qian and said, Qian Qian, this is my husband's cousin Qin Fian. He is the young master of the Qin family. Xia Qian snorted dismissively. Oh, Qin Fian did not look at Yi Er. He pushed up the glasses on his nose and looked at Xia Qian with disdain. Tisk tsk. This kind of person can also study in the media college? Is the media college unable to recruit students? Are they pulling everyone into the media college? Oh, I am a woman. Xia Qian said seriously. A woman with a gender. Qin Fian knew that Xia Qian was mocking him for being neither a man nor a woman. He sneered. Men are made of mud and women are made of water. No matter how I look at you, I feel that you are made of cement. Are you a woman? Awesome novel Songshu 566. Chapter 532. Xia Qian also replied. That's right. Everyone says men are made of mud. And women are made of water. No matter how I look at you, you look like you are made of plasticine. Are you sure you are Mayor Zhang's cousin and not his cousin? Jiang Zhao hugged Yi Er's shoulders and did not allow her to speak. He wanted to watch a good show. Qin Fian, this rascal, also got provoked outside? This was news. Qin Fian was friendly to his siblings at home. But outside he was like a crab. He can do whatever he wants. Xia Qian was really like Qiu Xiaoya? Did they eat leopard's guts? What do you mean by plasticine? Qin Fian thought. If it were not for his sister-in-law, he would have thrown this woman out of his room. He should not be ungentlemanly in front of a lady. Of course, this lady did not include Xia Qian. Xia Qian looked at Qin Fian with an intoxicated expression. She looked like she was looking at AV, and her voice slowly became weird. Plasticine is the type that you can knead however you want. It is very soft. Xia Qian suddenly thought of something. She put away her expression and became more serious, as if she had become closer to Qin Fian. Her change was too fast, making the people around her a little uncomfortable. Hey, I heard you're gay. Are you a top or a bottom? I have read a lot of erotic novels. You are so pretty, and you should be a bottom, right? You should be a bottom who knows how to act coquettishly. You should be very gentle and soft. A soft bottom? Will I get popped? As Xia Qian spoke, she was no longer sarcastic and sarcastic. She had entered a state of thirst for knowledge. She completely ignored Qin Fian's gloomy face and acted like a real media reporter. Is it really the same as what is written in the novels? Will it be more enjoyable than being with a woman? Is it really so good to be raped? Jiang Zhao stood at the side and hugged his uneasy wife. He ignored Qin Fian's impulse to throw away the glasses he used to pretend to be refined. He fanned the fire and asked, Fian, what do you mean by a bottom? What do you mean by a soft bottom? Are you really so gentle when you are a bottom? Wow, I still don't know. What do you mean by being raped? Why don't you tell us about it? Qin Fian didn't expect that Jiang Zhao would also interfere. He clearly wanted to watch a good show and even wanted to protect this girl. Brother, so this is what it means to kick someone to the curb after they've outlived their usefulness? He spoke a little loudly and deliberately spoke to the side where there were more people. Jiang Zhao saw that something was amiss. This brat wanted revenge. After all, he was the only one who knew about last night's incident. So he immediately turned the spearhead to Xia Qian and said, I heard that the Sea Moon restaurant's food takers get a commission. Then hurry up and apologize to young Master Fei Yin. Xia Qian scratched her head and suddenly understood. Mayor Jiang, are you treating us today? To order good dishes? Of course. If you want me to order egg fried rice, you don't have to apologize. Once Xia Qian heard that she was going to order good dishes, she immediately gave Qin Fian a 90-degree bow. After standing up straight, she spoke with a flattering smile. Young Master Fian, please forgive me. I'm young and ignorant. I'm sorry that my rude remarks made you angry. You're a magnanimous person. You won't lower yourself to the same level as me. I'll serve you some tea to ease your anger later as an apology. After that, she bowed to Qin Fian again. Qin Fian didn't know whether he should go up or down now. Xia Qian felt that something was wrong. This young master was still putting on airs. Tonight's abalone, ginseng, shark's fin, and stomach better not be replaced by egg fried rice. Thus she bowed to Qin Fian again. The people who were sitting and chatting saw the situation here and frowned. What happened? This little girl kept bowing to Fian as if she was apologizing. Qin Fian straightened his arms. If someone wanted to treat him like a big boss, then he would accept it. Moreover, this girl had just made him lose face. What top and bottom? What chrysanthemum explosion? She must have wanted to die. Xia Qian bowed and stood up straight. Yi Er wiped her sweat and shook Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao gently patted her shoulder and stood at the side. Xia Qian looked at Qin Fian and said sincerely, Young Master Fian, please forgive me. You are born in a prestigious family and have the demeanor of a big family. The way you speak and handle things is different from me, a girl from a poor family. In the future, I will be more careful with my words and actions. I will not cause trouble for young Master Fian anymore. Old Master Qin walked over and shouted, Fian, what are you doing? This little girl has already apologized to this extent. Why are you still acting like this? As long as I'm here, you better keep your bad habits in check. Qin Fian had lost all his face this time. Xia Qian immediately waved her hand and said, Old Master Qin is too serious. I spoke too much just now. It's not young Master Fian's fault. It's all my fault. Please don't blame him. Qin Fian glared at Xia Qian and said through gritted teeth, Shut up. Old Master Qin snorted, Go away. This little girl is trembling because of you. Xia Qian raised her eyebrows proudly. Yi Er saw Old Master Qin dragging Qin Fian away and whispered to Xia Qian, How dare you be like this in front of grandfather? Heh, Old Master Qin is famous for caring about his reputation. You know. After saying that, she lowered her head and laughed evilly. Jiang Zhao lowered his head and whispered in Yi Er's ear, Your disciple is too sneaky. Wrong. I'm her disciple who hasn't finished her apprenticeship. I'm too pure and innocent. I can't reach her level at all. Jiang Zhao kissed Yi Er on the forehead. My wife is too humble. Xia Qian saw that the two of them were lovey-dovey. She shook off the goosebumps and walked away. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to ask old master what he wants to eat. Yi Er often couldn't tell what kind of person Jiang Zhao was. When he was nice to her, when he was gentle, her heart couldn't help but squeeze. When he squeezed, he wouldn't let go. It didn't hurt, but it made her feel like he was holding on tightly and she was afraid to breathe. Hubby, have you fallen in love with me? Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao longingly. Jiang Zhao wanted to break through Yi Er's defenses with one look. He wanted to see the bottom of her eyes. At this moment, they were so clean, just like when she pretended to be pitiful, her eyes were full of pity. He couldn't see the bottom of her eyes. He knew that she was an expert at acting. Her acting skills were so good that they could pass off as real. Then he accidentally treated her acting as his own life. He deliberately raised his eyebrows and asked, Why would you think that? If you didn't fall in love with me, would you be so gentle to me? I've always been gentle to women. Didn't you know? Yi Er still had a bright smile in her eyes, but she felt that there was a spring slowly flowing into her heart. The spring water was astringent and salty. Of course I know. I'm a gentleman, but I want to remind you that our bet is still there. The man's smile was natural, but the flesh under his skin was extremely uncomfortable. How could I forget? I can forget my bet with anyone, but I can never forget my bet with a little fox like you. Yi Er didn't look into Jiang Zhao's eyes anymore. She wasn't mature enough. She couldn't stand looking at him for too long. Which nerve of hers short-circuited to ask such a question? The woman raised her arm and hooked it around the man's arm. She leaned her head on his shoulder and asked intimately, "Hubby, what if you lose?" The muscles on the man's back tightened. He reached out and slowly stroked the back of the woman's hand. He smiled warmly and said, "Honey, what if you lose?" Yi Er didn't answer. What should she do? What could she do with a bet that had no stakes? What would she lose? Actually, she couldn't lose anything. Why didn't she admit that she had lost? What did she insist on? Then what if we don't lose? Jiang Zhao reached out and stroked the woman's chin. What a harmonious couple, isn't it? She knew that he was such a proud person. From the day she forced herself to marry him, they were destined to have a loveless marriage. They didn't lose. Wasn't it very harmonious? Actually, it had long been disharmonious. At the family banquet, Yin Hongwei didn't seem reserved. Not only did Si Jie look likable, but he also spoke like an adult. When there were many people, he wouldn't embarrass Yi Er like he did at home. He would often praise his sister for being smart, virtuous, and considerate. Jiang Zhao felt that this brother-in-law of his was a shrewd person. Yi Er had been raised like a daughter of a wealthy family outside. The Qin family was very satisfied with Yi Er's performance. The people at the table walked around the wine table. They were just saying some polite words. Qin Rongfang had a sage-like temperament. He was always wearing a button-up shirt. The weather was cold, so the material was thicker. He was always putting on the airs of a scholar. From time to time, he would say a few words. It was obvious that he was very eloquent. Liqing, when will Zhao Zhao and Yi Er's wedding be? If his grandfather can't handle it, I'll take care of it. Jiang Liqing didn't dare to say anything about this. Dad, Zhao Zhao's grandfather has been worrying about the date recently. It's lively to have a holiday on New Year's Day, but the date according to the lunar calendar isn't too good. Qin Zhen continued and said sarcastically, "Who are you calling Dad? Who's your dad?" This topic smoothly transitioned from the younger generation's wedding date to the older generation's grudges. Old Master Qin was between Jiang Liqing and Qin Zhen. This seat was very strange. Qin Zhen and Si Jie sat together, while Jiang Liqing and Yin Hongwei sat together. The others followed suit and sat down. With this commotion, Qin Rongfang felt that he couldn't maintain his image anymore. Jiang Liqing said, "Don't you know who else at this table can make me call Dad? A father for a day, a father for life. Am I wrong to call him Dad?" Qin Zhen looked unhappy. "I don't know where such a person comes from in this world. You're divorced, but you still come to someone else's house all day long. Who wants you to come?" Jiang Liqing was a little embarrassed, but he was already used to Qin Zhen being like this. It was just that he was forced to get used to it. Zhao Zhao is not my son after the divorce? Dad is not my dad after the divorce? Zhao Zhao is your son, but Dad is my dad, not your dad. Qin Zhen looked up and stared hard at Jiang Zhao. She happened to meet Jiang Zhao's gaze at this moment. Jiang Zhao laughed dryly. He only felt that he was unlucky. He should have lowered his head to eat just now. That way, he wouldn't have been used as a meat shield. He glanced at Qin Rongfang. Qin Rongfang could only laugh dryly. This daughter couldn't be disciplined. Although she was old, mistemper was still there. People said that the son was the seedling at home, while the daughter was the water that was spilled out. However, he had spoiled his daughter since they were young and didn't spoil his son. This couple had quarreled for more than 10 years, and he had endured it. Liqing, you're right. Dad likes to hear you call him that. If you don't call me Dad, what should I call you? No matter what you call me, it's not appropriate. Dad, you said that he's not wrong. Are you saying that I'm wrong? Qin Zhen stood up. How can there be such an ignorant person like him? He comes to all kinds of banquets. He should have come during the engagement ceremony. Why is he coming now? If I knew that he was coming, I wouldn't have come. Come and see. Xingwu 799. Chapter 533. Yi was still alright. She had heard Jiang Zhao talk about it, and had seen the two of them bicker before. However, the most awkward person was Yin Hongwei. He felt as if he was sitting on pins and needles. He could neither persuade nor not persuade them. It was as if the couple was quarreling because of him. When he stood up, Yin Hongwei picked up the wine bottle and poured a glass of white wine for Jiang Liqing. He then walked to Qinzhen and picked up the decanter to pour her a glass of sober red wine. He smiled generously and said, "In-law, come and sit." Qinzhen had forgotten her manners. She was a little uncomfortable being asked to sit by Yin Hongwei. It was not the right time to lose her temper today. Jiang Liqing's expression was also a little unnatural. After all, not all of his relatives were here today. He had lost all his face. In the past, Qinzhen would still care about it, but he didn't know what was going on today. Yin Hongwei returned to his seat and raised his glass. He first clinked it with Jiang Liqing's glass. Jiang Liqing quickly stood up. Yin Hongwei then raised his glass towards Qinzhen. Qinzhen also raised her glass of red wine. She reached out and clinked it with Yin Hongwei's small white wine glass. She smiled apologetically. Yin Hongwei held his glass and looked at Qinzhen and Jiang Liqing. His eyes were shining with sincerity. He seemed to swallow his saliva and spoke a little slowly. "In-law, our Yi is so lucky to be married into your family. To be honest, when I first found out, I didn't dare to believe it. I felt that I was climbing up the social ladder. Yi told me that her parents-in-law were easy to get along with. They never said anything harsh." Yin Hongwei said and paused. "So, our Yi is so lucky. I don't even know how many lifetimes of good fortune she has accumulated." Yi felt a little inferior. Everyone could see that her father was trying to smooth things over. If the Yin family was still in power, these words would not be said. Just as she was about to lower her head, Jiang Zhao reached out and gently held her hand. She suddenly felt that she had someone to rely on, and her sense of inferiority slowly disappeared. Jiang Liqing naturally felt Yin Hongwei's good intentions. He said, "In-law, what are you talking about? What do you mean by climbing up the social ladder? As long as the child likes it, we adults are happy. They are the ones living their lives. Let's not talk about family status. Moreover, Yi is a very obedient child. How could I have said anything harsh to her?" Qinzhen glanced at Yi. Her head was slightly lowered, and her arm was leaning against her son's arm. The two hands seemed to be holding each other tightly under the table. She sighed. "If our Zhao Zhao likes it, we will all like it. In-law, you don't have to say that. We're a family." Yin Hongwei smiled. Yes. Family. Let's have a drink." The sound of wine glasses clinking was accompanied by the laughter of the three middle-aged men. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed, becoming joyous and harmonious. Qin Rongfang finally breathed a sigh of relief. When everyone calmed down, Qin Feiyu took a sip of juice, turned his head and asked Yi with a smile, "Sister-in-law, people are going to have Xiaobao after getting married. When are you going to have a baby? When you guys give birth to little Bao, you have to let me play with it." Yi was very nervous about this question. With a marriage like theirs, would they have a baby? Jiang Zhao felt the hand in his palm tensing up and sweating. He said to Qin Feiyu, "Your sister-in-law is still so young. How can we have a baby? Moreover, I don't want a baby now. We'll talk about it after a few years." Yi sighed. So he really didn't want a child. Qin Rongfang was not satisfied. He said angrily, "What else do you want to be considered stable? Tell me, if this isn't stable, what else can be considered stable? Then everyone in the country shouldn't have children." Even Jiang Liqing said at this time, "Jiang Zhao, let's not drag this matter out. You know about your brother's situation. It's not easy to have a child." Jiang Zhao's heart sank. "Don't worry. If we want one in the future, we will," Yi hurriedly said. "I still want to find a school to study at. I've already found one. I'll be starting tutoring next week, and then I'll be taking exams. So we'll talk about having a child in a few years." Jiang Zhao glanced at Yi, then turned back. Qinzhen said, "I don't care about your matters. Go to the hospital tomorrow for a physical examination. If everything is normal, you can have a child whenever you want." Jiang Zhao knew what his mother meant. She felt that this was too respectful, but Yi Er had already nodded. Okamo, we'll go for a physical examination tomorrow. Jiang Zhao's phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Zhuang Yichen. He got up and said he would go out to answer it. The northern end of the floor of Haiwa Tower was very quiet. Jiang Zhao walked over and picked up the phone. Zhuang Yichen said that he had found someone to hack Chen Tong's computer. Moreover, all the IP addresses that he had contacted since the day the photos were taken were all hacked. The photos should be safe now. Jiang Zhao smiled. Did you take stimulants today? You're so fast. Yeah, I was bored out of my mind. Zhuang Yichen sat in the cruise restaurant and looked at the empty seat opposite him. He squeezed the knife and fork in his hand and narrowed his eyes. I can't find anything to do. Let's get Chen Tong in as soon as possible. It's not fun to play with him at all. Okay. Jiang Zhao smiled unrestrainedly. After hanging up, Zhuang Yichen made a call and asked coldly, where did Qiu and Xiaoya go? Boss, I've been following Miss Qiu. She went to the hospital. Young Master Kong is hospitalized. It seems like he was in a car accident and is being treated. After hanging up, Zhuang Yichen pinched the phone between his fingers and massaged his temples. There was a blood vessel inside that was throbbing violently. There was a fire in the blood vessel that was burning fiercely. He rarely let her eat with him outside, and the few times he did, he chose a very private place. It had been almost 4 years. The number of times they ate out could be counted with one hand. She actually dared to stand him up today. Her phone was turned off. The number that was originally turned off suddenly appeared on his phone screen. He wanted to pick it up quickly but paused for 2 seconds. He slid it open and put it to his ear. What time is it? Boss, I'm sorry. My phone ran out of battery just now. I changed the battery. I don't have time to go tonight. Come here immediately. Zhuang Yichen's voice was still very slow, but his tone was heavier. Xiaoya was silent for a while. That's not right. Why did she still call him boss? We're even now. We've already said that we're breaking up. Zhuang Yichen, don't go too far. Zhuang Yichen chuckled. We're even? Qiu Xiaoya, we agreed on 4 years. During this time, I'll raise you up and give you the fame and fortune you want. When the contract ends, I'll transfer the ownership of the house to you. I'll take care of your family matters. If I want to end it, you won't lose anything. But if you want to end it, I'll stop paying you and the house won't be transferred. But have you forgotten? I've already transferred the ownership of the house to you. Zhuang, you were the one who said that it's just a house. Even if it's only for a month, you should give it to me. I said that I'll return it to you. I didn't force you. Why are you acting like a gentleman now? Haha, so what? If I give you the house, it means that our relationship will end after 4 years. So you're still mine now. You're too much. Qiu Xiaorao, don't blame me for not reminding you. People who are in a car accident are very fragile. If something goes wrong, it'll be troublesome. You'd better drive over quickly while I still have patience. You asked someone to do it. Zhuang Yichen listened to Xiaoya's questioning and pinched the bridge of his nose. I don't need to explain it to you. You're a jerk. Oh. Zhuang Yichen raised his wrist and looked at his watch. It seems like you want to know how a jerk does things. Xiaoya held the phone and heard the beeping sound. She shouted a few times, hello, hello, hello. She turned around and saw that the emergency light on the top of the door of the emergency room was still on. She bit the corner of the phone in her mouth. Her lips trembled violently as if they had been frozen by the cold wind. She remembered that she had said to the person inside before, you are my life. My life is called Kang Yun. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and was about to return to the private room when the door of the first private room opened. High Heels stepped out and fell on the carpet without a sound. When the door closed, there was a click sound. When he looked up, Jiang Zhao smiled. Oh, Yan Yan walked over. Second brother. Yan Yan is here too. Yes, Dad is treating someone to dinner tonight. What about you? Jiang Zhao slid the phone into his trouser pocket. Family dinner. Aren't family dinners rarely held outside? Oh, Yan Yan knew that the Qin mansion had a special dining area. Most family dinners were usually held at home. Yes, because I always eat at home. I'm a little tired of it. Thinking about it, that didn't seem to be the case. The Qin family's chef always made a lot of food. He remembered that day when she was hospitalized. She cried and said that she wanted to eat sea cucumber. He said that he would take her to eat the best sea cucumber in High City. He also knew that she was acting at that time, but he always took her acting seriously. He treated it as a request. She wanted to eat sea cucumber, and he agreed to it. That was all. Ouyang Yin smiled gently. Your mouth has always been so picky. People from Bingyi River. She reached out and touched the corner of Jiang Zhao's mouth affectionately as before. Look at you. You didn't even wipe your mouth before running out. This isn't like you. Without Jiang Zhao by his side, Yi Er couldn't help but feel reserved. He found an excuse to come out and look for someone. The carpet was very thick, and the woman's footsteps were very light. He slowly retracted his steps. He really didn't come at the right time. So it was Ouyang Yin who called to look for him. Some people said that when a man was willing to cover up, it meant that he still cared. When he didn't care anymore, he couldn't even be bothered to pretend. Perhaps he cared about her feelings and didn't say that he came out to see Ouyang Yin? As she walked back, she bumped into Yinhua's arms. She was still a little dazed. When she raised her head, she rubbed her temples. Unwu, sister-in-law, what a coincidence. Unwu supported Yi Er's shoulders. After she steadied herself, he let go and took a step back, maintaining a polite distance. You're eating here too? After Yi Er confirmed that it was Unwu, the first thing she did was to size him up from head to toe. It wasn't obvious on his face, but there was still some green at the corner of his eyebrows. The stray hair on his forehead covered some of it. Is your injury better? It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect my movements. Grandpa invited a few uncles to dinner today and insisted that I come over. Unwu was a little distant from Yi Er. That kind of distance was very natural. Yi Er couldn't help but sigh softly. Perhaps after the fight, he was afraid of provoking her. This was really a misunderstanding. Unwu, I'm sorry. I asked you to draw the painting, but Jiang Zhao took his anger out on you. I'm very sorry that things ended up like this. Sister-in-law, why are you saying all this? It's normal that Zhao Gu can't understand. I think if it were me, I wouldn't be able to accept it either. You should be more open-minded. Don't always take it to heart. Beauty novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 534. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's okay. Speaking of which, I'm calling you sister-in-law. Actually, you've known me for a long time, and we can be considered friends. I'm not used to you saying I'm sorry all the time. Has your nature changed after you got married? You rarely apologized to others in the past. Or do you not treat me as a friend anymore? Unwu was so magnanimous that Yi Er felt even more ashamed. How could that be? Of course you're my friend. We've known each other for almost 2 years. Unwu gasped softly. What's the matter? I'm looking for a place to apply some medicine. My brow bone hurts a little. I told Grandpa that it doesn't hurt anymore. I'm afraid that he'll see me applying the medicine, so I'll find a place to apply it. It'll be fine after some air. His nose isn't very good. Let me apply it for you. Unwu refused. No need. How pretentious. Come on, I'll apply it for you. Unwu really took out a thin glass bottle from his pocket. It was about the size of a bottle of essential balm. Yi Er took the bottle, unscrewed the cap, and applied a little of the medicine onto his fingertips. Are you applying it on your brow bone like this? Yes. Unwu closed his eyes. Yi Er brushed the hair in front of his forehead. The bruises on his fair face looked particularly hideous. When he applied the medicine, Unwu shrank back a little. Does it hurt a lot? Unwu frowned. It doesn't hurt. Yi Er knew that Unwu was a weak scholar. How could he withstand Jiang Zhao's punches? Her high heels had already lengthened her. At this moment, when she stood in front of Unwu, there wasn't much of a difference in their heights. She stood on her tiptoes and brushed the fresh strands of hair in front of his forehead away. Unwu felt a cool breeze blowing into his bone from his brow bone, penetrating into every cell in his body. Yi Er was startled when the bottle in his hand was suddenly snatched away. He quickly stood up straight and turned around. Jiang Zhao gripped the small bottle in his hand so tightly that his knuckles turned white. His eyes were terrifyingly cold, and all that came with them was a snowstorm that cut people. Ouyang was still by his side, standing very close to him. His gaze was as if he had followed Jiang Zhao here to capture him. Yi Er felt as if a piece of rotten cotton was stuck in her heart. Not only did it not allow her to breathe, it also made her feel disgusted. Yinyi, what did I tell you? Yi Er's wrist was grabbed by the man's strong hand and lifted. She replied. She replied indifferently and did not respond at all. She was like a chick caught in a net, waiting for the man to punish her. It was a kind of determination to face death with equanimity. How could she not remember that he said that she was not allowed to be alone with Unwu again? Even if Yunwa's girlfriend asked her out, she was not allowed to go. She had agreed. She had agreed because she could not afford to offend him, because she liked him. Was it because of this that only the state officials were allowed to set fires, but the common people were not even allowed to strike a flint? He could find a secluded place and whisper sweet nothings to his ex-mistress. She could not even speak to a boy who called her sister-in-law. What does mean? Jiang Zhao could no longer care that Ouyang was still beside him. He could not care less that Unwu was still standing at the side waiting to laugh at him. Wasn't that just letting them laugh at him? It means exactly what it means. Yi Er endured the pain from her wrist and tiptoed lightly. She looked at Ouyang with a faint smile and whispered in his ear. Your mistress is watching. Aren't you afraid that she will be jealous if you hold my hand so intimately? When she throws a tantrum later, you won't be able to appease her. Why are you asking for trouble? Jiang Zhao slowly let go of Yi Er's hand. He slowly let go, and a gust of air surged out from his chest. He exhaled and turned his head slightly, looking at Ouyang who was standing at the side. He then looked at the woman in front of him. Her face was bright and beautiful. The man standing behind her still had some scars on his face, but his eyes were clear and calm. What a match! These two were both masters of acting. She also knew that Ouyang would be jealous. She knew. She just felt that another woman should be jealous. And she was not the one who should be jealous. Did she really not feel anything at all? Not at all. Just now, when Ouyang came to wipe his mouth, he subconsciously took a step back and took out a handkerchief to wipe it himself. However, she did not avoid suspicion and went to apply medicine for Unwu. She really did not feel anything at all. She did not know what a married person was supposed to do. She had no feelings and no sense of responsibility. Talking about responsibility with her was like talking to a cow. Thinking about what she had said to him in the private room, he sighed and said, "Let's go back and eat first. We'll talk when we get home." Yi Er said goodbye to Unwu and snatched the medicine bottle from Jiang Zhao's hand to return it to Unwu. Unwu did not say anything from beginning to end. He only smiled apologetically at Yi Er. Ouyang called out to Jiang Zhao, "Brother Er, I want to treat you to a meal tomorrow." Jiang Zhao turned to look at Yi Er. Yi Er smiled nonchalantly and looked up. Jiang Zhao's heart skipped a beat. He turned to look at Ouyang and said, "Okay. Let me know when the place is booked." On the way back, Jiang Zhao did not speak. Yi Er did not speak either. It was not until they got into bed and covered themselves with the blanket that Yi Er said, "I don't care about you. Can you not be so hot-tempered next time? I was just applying medicine for Unwu. We didn't go on a date." "It's not like you've fallen in love with me. Do you have to be like this?" Jiang Zhao turned around and said, "Okay, but you have to be mindful of your image next time. There are too many people out there. I don't want to be the talk of others after a meal." "Oh, you mean I don't have to be mindful of my image when there's no one around?" Yi Er propped himself up and looked at Jiang Zhao's side profile. Jiang Zhao turned around and said, "Don't you dare." He choked on the words and swallowed them. He smiled and said, "There's no such thing as a perfect wall. Don't you know that? As long as our marriage survives, you should keep your chastity and self-control." "Okay. Good night." Yi Er lay down. She felt that this sleep did not feel good. He was very reasonable today, and it was all her fault. That was not all. He even wanted to have a cold war with her, but he actually turned his back and ignored her. She twisted and turned again until she was behind Jiang Zhao. She pressed herself against him and asked with a smile, "Self-control doesn't include abstinence, right?" She looked up at the back of his head and winked. "I'm going to make it clear. If you want me to keep my chastity, you have to give me the conditions to keep my chastity. For example, you have to satisfy me in terms of physical facilities. For example, I'm already used to it when it's late at night. If you insist on withholding my food because of another woman." Yi Er awkwardly said, I have to look for food to fill my stomach when I'm hungry, right?" Jiang Zhao turned around and pushed Yi Er away. He propped his head up with his elbow and gently pulled the corners of his mouth. He looked at Yi Er and asked ambiguously, "Oh, when have I ever been short of food?" "I think you're trying to cut my food today." Yi Er's face was a little red, but she still forced herself to say that she did not care. This guy was going to have dinner with his lover tomorrow. What about after dinner? Or what if the two of them met before dinner? "I'm not used to mistreating women." Jiang Zhao still did not move. He just stared at Yi Er. "Nonsense. You're obviously trying to mistreat me." Yi Er reached out to tug at Jiang Zhao's pajamas. Jiang Zhao reached out and grabbed Yi Er's hand, not allowing her to undo the clasp. "Jiang Zhao, we've agreed that we won't quarrel at the head of the bed." "Ha, I'm not quarreling with you." "Are we quarreling?" Yi Er flipped over and straddled Jiang Zhao. She pulled at his clothes and pants, but the man was strong. At this moment, he valued Zhenjie very much and did not let her have her way. She could not win against him. "Forget it. Look at you. Forget it. I'm hungry. Let's go out and look for food." Yi Er swung her hand angrily. This man was amazing. He had a woman. That woman was prettier than her, gentler than her, and more affectionate than her. Yi Er had just gotten off the bed when Jiang Zhao sat up. "Yin Yi, where are you going?" "Where am I going?" "You have a lover outside. You can eat your fill anytime. I'm at a disadvantage. I have to find a man. If I can't eat my fill at home, I can eat outside." Yi Er walked barefooted to the wardrobe. Then she pulled open the wardrobe and began to rummage through her clothes. Just as she found a shirt, like she was rummaging through a sweater, her hand touched the hanger. The man pulled her over. "What do you mean?" "Nothing. I just want to find a man to relieve my loneliness." Yi Er wanted to push Jiang Zhao away, but she could not. "You're lonely?" "Very lonely." Yi Er rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao. "Then tell me, how do you want to relieve your loneliness?" When Jiang Zhao smiled, it was a little evil. It made people feel that he would do something evil in the next second. "If I don't tell you, you won't understand." After Yi Er said this, her whole body was pressed against the wardrobe by the man. "If you don't tell me, how will I understand?" The mesh panties were removed and thrown to the floor. When the man squeezed in, Yi Er panted and hit him. "Jiang Zhao, I like to do it in bed." "Then tell me, how do you want to relieve your loneliness?" The wardrobe door banged loudly as it was knocked open. The sound of it banging against the door echoed in the bedroom. In the morning, after Jiang Zhao got up and gave his usual morning kiss, he asked Yi Er, "Darling, are you lonely?" Yi Er had a pair of panda eyes. She rubbed her sore legs and shook her head. "No, I'm not lonely." She thought to herself, whoever calls themselves lonely in the future is a pig. Jiang Zhao had an appointment with someone and asked Yi Er not to get up to make breakfast today. Yi Er thought to herself that she would not be able to get up either. She slept until noon. It was Sijia who went upstairs to wake her up. "Sijia, what time is it? Are you going to school? I'll get up and send you off." Sijia shook his head and looked a little depressed. "Are you hungry?" Sijia shook his head. "Dad took the wontons you made from the fridge. We already had breakfast. It's noon." "Yes." Sijia nodded. Yi Er sat up. "Then go downstairs and wait for me. I'll go down and cook when I'm done. Sis Mom is here." Yi Er was shocked. She originally looked a little sluggish, but all of a sudden, it was as if someone had given her a shot of stimulant. All her tiredness disappeared. "Mom." "Yes, she's downstairs." Sijia looked into Yi Er's eyes. She's here to ask Dad for a divorce. Yi Er trembled as she took a deep breath. Then she glared at Si Jie and slapped him on the back. What are you doing up here? Go down and accompany Dad, you bastard. Si Jie jumped off the bed from the slap. Yin Yi. You bitch. Go down. Yi Er scratched her head. I'll come down immediately after I change. The woman sitting in the living room downstairs did not seem to have experienced any disaster. It was as if everything that had happened to the Yun family had nothing to do with her. She still had the aura of a rich and powerful woman. She was dressed in the latest branded clothes of the season. Come and take a look. Xinwu 799. Chapter 535. She did not look at Yun Hongwei. When she heard footsteps coming down the stairs, she quickly turned around. Si Jie came down from upstairs. The woman stood up and changed her cold expression into a gentle smile. Si Jie, come over to Mommy. Si Jie threw herself into the woman's arms. Mommy, take a seat first. Sister will come down soon. Yi Er missed her mother. Before she got married, she always missed her mother. Whenever she encountered difficulties, she would miss her mother. She had gone to ask for help under the scorching sun, and was chased out. When she was surrounded by enemies, she missed her mother. She did not dare to waste money on taxis, and did not know which bus to take. She walked from one bus stop to another in exhaustion, and missed her mother. Si Jie fell sick and had a high fever. In the middle of the night, she carried her brother out to take a taxi to the hospital in the pouring rain. When she called her brother's name, he did not answer. She was so anxious that she cried and missed her mother. It was her first time using gas. The gas stove was very old and she needed a lighter. The flame went boom. And she was so frightened that she threw the lighter away and hid by the door. She missed her mother. She dialed her mother's old number again and again. She missed her mother. Every time she made a decision, she thought about her mother. If her mother was here, would she agree to her doing this? Was she doing the right thing? If her mother was here, would there be a better way? Later on, she felt that she did not have a mother. If she did, how could her mother bear to let her live like this? Later on, she felt that perhaps her mother was suffering more than her. Perhaps her mother was just afraid of implicating her? But standing at the top of the stairs and looking at the woman carrying Si Jie, she did not change at all in the past 2 years. She was still the same. She was like a rich madam. An elegant and luxurious madam. She had a beautiful face, luxurious clothes and jewelry, and meticulously painted nails. She looked at this woman who she had missed for a long time. She could not even call out the word mommy. When she heard Si Jie say that this mommy was here to divorce daddy, she could not say it. Yun Hongwei stood up and looked at Yi Er. She was crying silently. His heart ached so much that he could not speak. He walked over and hugged Yi Er in his arms. He said softly, Yi Er, call mommy. Yi Er turned around and threw herself into Yun Hongwei's arms. She cried, Daddy, Daddy. She just kept calling out, Dad. Si Jie jumped out of Zhou Li's arms, ran over and hugged Yi Er's waist. Sister, sister, don't cry. If you're unhappy, I'll sit there. I won't go. I'll sit with you. Zhou Li stood with bright lipstick on her lips. The distance between Yi Er and her made it impossible for her to maintain her elegance. Choking with sobs, she said, Yi Er, Mom, it's not easy for Mom either. Yi Er didn't look at Zhou Li. She just buried herself in Yun Hongwei's arms. Her tears and snot were all over her father's clothes. She nodded. I know. She wished that her mother didn't have it easy. She hated herself a little. She hated herself for being so narrow-minded. Why did she have to be so jealous? Why couldn't she think that it was fine as long as her mother was living well? But even if he was that old, what about Si Jie? How old was Si Jie back then? 7 years old. As a mother, how could she bear to let her 7-year-old daughter take care of her 7-year-old son? How could she rest assured that her daughter was living well on her own? How could she not find out what kind of life her children were living? Her life was so rich. If she wanted to find out, wouldn't it be easy? If she had found out, how could she bear to watch her daughter run around day and night? How could she bear to watch her daughter being driven into a corner time and time again? Her daughter was only 17 years old at that time. A 17-year-old girl who only knew about daily necessities. She really couldn't imagine how powerful a mother she was. Yi-er vented her emotions with tears. She felt that she could cry properly. Her parents were here and she was still a child. Why couldn't she cry? Even if her heart was torn apart, she was still reasonable. After venting her emotions with great difficulty, she pulled Si-jie to sit on a long sofa. Yin Hongwei sat alone on a short sofa. Jolie dragged a stool and sat opposite Yi-er. Yi-er looked at Yin Hongwei and asked, "Does Dad agree to the divorce?" Yin Hongwei nodded. "Yes, he agrees." Yi-er patted Si-jie's head. "Then let's go and settle the paperwork tomorrow on Monday. Since both parties have agreed, there's nothing much to say." Perhaps it was because children who had experienced such family changes were exceptionally mature. Si-jie did not cry and throw a tantrum like the children in those cliché novels and TV dramas. He did not cry for his parents to be separated, and cried for his parents to be together. He listened to his sister's arrangements and nodded. He did not seem to be reluctant at all. No matter whether Jolie looked at Yi-er or Si-jie, she could not catch their eyes. She knew that Yi-er was avoiding her. "Yi-er, I was thinking. What do you think about Si-jie and me, and you and Dad?" Yi-er's originally weak body suddenly trembled. She looked up. Her previously empty eyes suddenly lit up as she stared at Zhou Yan. "What did you say?" Yin Hongwei stood up. "What did you say?" Yi-er walked over and sat Yin Hongwei down on his seat. She handed him a teacup and said, "Dad, have some water." He returned to his seat and said, "Mom, not only did you come to ask for a divorce, you also want custody rights?" Jolie folded her hands on her knees. They were very white, and the nail polish on her nails was bright and beautiful. At this moment, she nervously clenched her hands and looked at Yi-er. She gently licked her lips and said, "Yi-er, Mom knows that I've let you down in the past 2 years. I know that you've suffered a lot, but you're doing well now. Jiang Zhao is so well-to-do. You won't have to worry for the rest of your life. As long as you're doing well, Mom will be at ease. Si-jie is still young and needs a mother's love. Si-jie and I." Yin Hongwei's expression did not look right. He reached out and pressed his chest, but he could not speak. As Yi-er listened to Zhou Li's words, she completely ignored her father's reaction. She only felt that her heart was in a mess. Someone kept tugging and tugging at it. It was a mess. She wanted to tug at it again, but it only broke and hurt. She panted as if she had asthma. The grievances in her heart, which she had been holding back, all poured out like a flood of tears. "Mama!" Yi-er shouted twice. She clenched her teeth tightly and raised her head. When her small chin was raised, streaks of tears fell from her chin. That cry of great grief and pain tore at Yin Hongwei's face, until it turned even paler. Yi-er stretched out her arms and hugged Si-jie tightly. Si-jie anxiously shouted, "Sister, I won't go. I won't leave you." Yi-er rested her face on the top of Si-jie's head. Her tears drowned Si-jie's head. Si-jie missed his mother, but he was even more afraid that his sister would be sad. At this moment, he could only let his sister hug him tightly. He knew that this was his sister's reaction when she lacked a sense of security. He only wanted to grow up quickly and give her that sense of security. Yi-er's breath was trembling. Her voice also trembled. "Mom, what are you saying to me? You're apologizing to me? You're saying that you know that I've suffered a lot? Mom, what could be more hurtful than these words? Mom, why did you say it? I'd rather you not say it for the rest of your life. I'm doing well, so you came out? I didn't marry a hooligan, so you came out? You're relieved? Mom. You know that I've suffered a lot. You know that Si-jie and I depend on each other, so you want to take Si-jie away?" Yi-er bit her lips for a long time, until blood seeped out. "Was I a burden in the past? Just because I had no one to rely on? You didn't even want Si-jie? Si-jie needs a mother's love, but don't I? Do I really not need it? When Dad got into trouble, I was only 17 years old. Don't I need a mother's love? You want me to be a mother at the age of 17. Do you think that I was born without a mother's love?" Faced with Yi-er's indignant accusations, Jolie covered her face and sobbed. Her voice came out from between her fingers with a whimper. Yi-er, Mom has her own difficulties. Please forgive Mom. Mom knows that it's been hard on you. Mom owes you. Mom owes you. Yi-er's nasal voice was very heavy after crying. What do you owe me? You gave birth to me and allowed me to see the light of this world. I owe you everything. Everything I have now is a gift from my parents. You don't owe me anything. But Sijie is Dad's life. You can't take him away. Jolie glared at her. Yi-er, you can't be so biased. It's not fair that you're biased towards your father. No matter how young it was. Yi-er felt insecure. So she hugged Sijie and placed him on her knees. Sijie was as obedient as a cat, wrapped in Yi-er's arms and allowed her to stroke his head. He no longer mentioned anything taboo. Yi-er looked at Zhou Yan. Aside from the pain and tears in her eyes, her voice was filled with a desperate pleading. Fair? How can Mom be fair? Is Dad not fair to you? Ever since I can remember, Dad has never mistreated you. He gave you everything you wanted. When you said you wanted to have morning tea, he took a private jet to Guangzhou early in the morning. When you said you wanted to go to the hot springs, he immediately arranged a trip to take you to Japan. If you took a few more glances at something, he would buy it for you even if you didn't ask. Even when he got into trouble, and you didn't visit him, he didn't blame you. Now that you say you want a divorce, he feels that he has nothing. Even if he loves you, he won't ask you to stay. This man only wants you to live well. Mom, as a person, can you not be so ruthless? Can't you just treat it as keeping Sijie by Dad's side as a memento for him? Just treat it as if this man has fallen into your hands for the rest of his life. Just give in to him this once, okay? Jolie clenched her fists tightly, not daring to look Yi-er in the eye. Yi-er's words were like a thorny whip lashing her body. Yin Hongwei clutched his chest, his breathing getting louder and louder. His voice was disproportionately weak. Yi-er, don't say any more. Yi-er turned around and saw that Yin Hongwei's lips had turned purple. Suddenly her brain went blank, as if she lacked oxygen. Dad. She put Sijie down and ran over. Dad. Sijie also shouted anxiously. Yi-er supported Yin Hongwei, not daring to move. She straightened her neck and shouted at Sijie with a red face. Sijie, go and get the phone. Call your brother-in-law. Hurry. At this moment, Jiang Zhao had just come out of his office. When he saw the call from home, he instinctively felt that it was Yi-er asking if he wanted to go home for dinner. He wanted to put on airs, so he let the phone ring once. Soon it rang a second time. Jiang Zhao was a little pleased. Now you know how to look for me, right? Now you know how important I am, right? Now you know how to ask me to go home for dinner, right? Little guy. It wasn't until the phone rang a third time that he slid it open to answer it. The woman's voice on the other end was so loud that her nose was blocked from crying. Jiang Zhao. Yin Yi. Jiang Zhao raised his voice and slapped himself in the ear. He tilted his head, clamped the phone on his shoulder, started the car and asked anxiously, Yin Yi, where are you? Awesome novel, Hongcha 866 that you're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.